Hello and welcome to episode 32 of the Chronicles of Nidum, presented by Dice of the Beholder and produced and directed by the wonderful Heavyweight Gamer. We love you, AD. Yes, so episode 32, not the most important part of this opening, because we have a few announcements, a little bit to talk about. Some of you may have seen on Heavyweight Gaming and shared by most of the people here at Dice of the Beholder, many of the other creators that are on this channel, that Heavyweight Gaming is soon to run a 48-hour roleplay gaming, anything you can think of that this channel might be affiliated with, charity live streaming event on Twitch. You may have seen on their Facebook page, on the Twitter, on our Twitters as well, the post. If not, please go to Facebook, search for Heavyweight Gaming, exactly spelled as it is here, W-A-I-T-E, and just check it out, because the three charities that AD has chosen are amazing, wonderful. Mind especially has been actually helpful to me in my own life. Mermaids and the Rainbow Trust, because we previously we took part in, with Heavyweight Gaming, a 24-hour live stream for the Birmingham Children's Hospital, Cancer Ward Oncology. And we raised a surprising amount of money, though I think most of it was for us shaving Eddie's head at the end. I think that was like a massive push when we gave that as a kind of Kickstarter unlock. But yes, please head over to Heavyweight Gaming. The three causes that we've chosen are amazing, and anything you can give if you read up anything more about these three charities, is going to some amazing causes. So please, if you get a moment, pop over to Heavyweight Gaming on Facebook and check it out. It is going to be Bank Holiday weekend in August. Well, I say Bank Holiday for the Brits watching. Bank Holiday weekend in August, so noon Friday the 28th until noon on Sunday the 30th. For the rest of you, anyone who's not controlled by bank holidays and doesn't look forward to them like the beautiful water to a starving, water to a dehydrated man in the desert that Bank Holiday Mondays are. Yes, please, if you're not doing anything end of August, come along, jump on, support us. We don't know when we're going to be on yet. We are taking part. We're going to run something that I think everyone's been looking forward to for ages, since I mentioned it about 4 years ago that I wanted to run a game of this. But yes, we're gonna have a one shot. So please come along and support us, and support everyone else. There's going to be lots of stuff. D&D, Vampire, Carbon 2185. I think that's the numbers are the right way around. Yeah, Carbon 2185, an amazing cyberpunk 5th edition setting. But there's also going to be gaming. I think Heavyweight Gaming's kids are probably going to jump on and run some Minecraft Dungeons, which is going to be amazing, because those kids are awesome. But yes, please come and join us. Because they're now, I can see them on Zoom, and they're all like, wrap it up, wrap it up, wrap it up. AD, if you want to show everyone else, because I'm going to do the intro, or last time on Chronicles of Nidum, when you can see everyone. Hey, everyone's around.
Hi. Also, do you want to rub it in more about Bank Holiday Mondays? Because some of us work retail.
Yeah, I did my time in retail. I'm not.
I don't get Bank Holiday Mondays. I have to work.
10 years of it has to come out.
Exactly. So, episode 32. Before that, though, there we go. To help everyone catch up, last time on the Chronicles of Nidum, catching the land train to Londinium, you all almost unanimously elected to stay as quiet and as hidden as you possibly could for the entire journey across Albion by making some separate nests in one of the rearmost carriages. The Fates, unfortunately, had other plans for you, which were evident when Oriana perceived a loud, painful scream coming from somewhere ahead of you in the passenger carriages. You found yourself presented very quickly with some new opportunities, some new potential friends, a murder and a mystery, and most of you then found yourselves with some very difficult choices to make. Not all of you happy with the outcome. Finding yourself now then upgraded to a much more comfortable setting in the first class carriage, most of you now experience a growing apprehension as you inch ever closer to the capital city of Albion, Londinium, which is the effective centre of this part of a kingdom that has been hunting you for these many weeks. Last off, you finished by electing to take a well-earned rest after solving the mystery of the murder in this carriage. And after the blood was cleaned, you knew that your next stop would be the town of Clever, somewhere in Albion, somewhere between Briscoe and Londinium. It only took a few hours more to get there. You were there before nightfall, and the guards were correct in their estimations. They very quickly spoke to the local law enforcement, who, upon taking their word for everything and seeing then that you, having killed the vampire, providing evidence of its death, you had earned your place in the first class carriage, and there were no more questions to be asked. It was quite cut and dry. So, pulling into the station and not due to travel during the night, this train stayed there, but you were under no guard and found yourself in relative comfort. You were brought food at regular intervals until the night took everyone and you had an easy and comfortable sleep. So comfortable, in fact, that you woke the next morning to the rocking of the carriage. You had not been alerted to the fact that it had started moving again. So you find yourself now awake the next day, having all taken a long rest. Click, click, click. Having all taken a long rest.
Yeah, all right.
And you all awake. Sepsis, where are you sleeping?
What a beautiful world.
I don't know what you're asking. Sorry, I started to disassociate about 3 or 4 hours into your intro there.
Cheeky.
Where am I sleeping?
Where was Sepsis sleeping?
What are the options?
In the carriage you're in, there is a very large sitting area with many different tables, 2 chairs to each, all effectively for a morning coffee or a small meal to be served on. There are 2 rooms. There is a large, what has been decked out this time, walk-in wardrobe.
That's where I'm sleeping.
A large sleeping area with a 3rd, smaller door to a very small water closet at the end, just before the door into the forward carriages.
I'm in the wardrobe.
You're sleeping in the walk-in wardrobe. Cool.
I've pulled down a load of clothing, and I'm sleeping in a big pile of clothing.
You are effectively now then in a big pile of not just clothing. You're in a big pile of dresses.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
I mean, I am a big pile of clothing, so it seems appropriate.
You are in the middle of a big pile of dresses of all colours and materials. The rest of you?
I'm in the bed.
I'm with Ariana.
Ace?
Can you lingerie?
Ace would have taken the couch if there's not another bed.
Okay.
Join us in bed.
Let's say there's a chaise lounge. And yes, you do have a relatively comfortable sleep on the long couch that is in the sitting area.
You can have the bed tonight. I'll sleep on the couch tonight.
There is a knock on the carriage door from the front of the train.
I open it. With my disguise on, I open it.
Okay, before we go any further then, Sepsis, what will you be disguised as today?
I'm going to continue to be Hugin, yeah.
Okay. Oriana, Moonin?
Yep.
Ace?
My other human.
Cool. And Dice. Will you be using...
No, I'm going to bank on the fact that elves don't take any notice of humans or what they look like. I'm going to put my hood up and I'm going to stay as myself.
Okay.
I'm wasting spell slots on pointless things.
So you're going to put your hood up on your Cloak of Elvenkind?
I am.
Cool. Okay, no problem.
To try and be a bit more sort of shadowed in the face.
Okay. That's disadvantage on perception checks, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, you're fine. They pay no mind to you at all then. As you open the door, Oriana, and the two guards, one older, one much younger, that you met the previous day, solved the mystery for, are standing there. One of them has, the younger one then is carrying a very heavily laden tray. And the older one, yes, sorry to disturb you if you were not awake before we knocked.
I'm gonna say I answered like I'm in my disguise, but I'm wearing like a tiny pink nightie and a dressing gown open over the top. So I'm a half orc in a tiny pink nightie.
Okay. They're currently averting their eyes then in trying to be gentlemanly and just staring at the ceiling. Unfortunately, you are a lot taller than both of them, and in the looking up, they're actually like the bottom half of their vision is still quite full of you. So as they're looking up,
Half orc titties.
yes, they're craning their necks to try and get you out of their eye line. And it's not working very well. But yes, I believe you were awaiting this, and he pulls a pouch from his side and hands it to you.
Thank you.
In there should be for both you and your business partner. There is 100 gold each. A reward for helping us with the solving of the mystery and helping us keep our jobs, really. We picked it up in Kaleva. Apparently word is being sent ahead and there should be more for us when we arrive in Londinium.
That's good news. I stick it down my top.
I have here breakfast for you. I mean, it's the least we could do. If you wouldn't mind.
I step aside for them to come in and bring it in.
The younger one then steps past him and does just place it down on the table. It's the table like furthest away from Ace. As he's electing to feed, obviously, you, and he looks around for Sepsis but can't see him, because you normally tell me when you've come out of your room.
Yeah, I'm still in the pile.
My business partner is still asleep.
Yes, of course. I've heard that dwarves tend to need their beauty sleep more than others.
He's worse than a toddler.
You just hear from the cupboard. They.
You're a dwarf.
Still a they.
Is it? I thought he was male as a dwarf.
Dugan was a male dwarf.
He's always been a male Virga.
A they. I mean, he has
Right.
been.
So he is
I
awake
have
now.
definitely been a he elsewhere as a dwarf.
Okay.
You're quite right.
I apologise, good sir. Good day. Sorry.
Good day to you too.
It's fine.
Perhaps we should leave.
Yes.
And he looks at his companion, and the younger companion is having a much harder time not staring at you, Ariana.
Pick up like a fruit, like a peach or something, and bite in it, and just let the juice go down while staring at him.
Ace is trying to hold in some chuckles.
I'm sure it
Not
became
them for
much harder
once.
not to stare at her when the bag of gold just fell directly onto the floor. There's nothing in there to hold it up.
There's muscle there. Those boobs are perky, my friend.
He does begin to cough and splutter as if he was trying to say something, but his older companion grabs him by the arm and forcibly drags him out of the room after him, and they close the door behind him.
Honestly, I just tried eating like a half orc.
I think they might have seen it as something a little bit more sensual.
I think they liked it.
Yeah, I just carry on eating the peach.
I'm gonna shuffle out of the
Much
cupboard
neatly.
at this point with like still about half of the dresses draped over me.
Ah, sepsis, it suits you.
I like the new look.
Yeah,
I'll divide the gold up to 50 each.
thank you. Sepsis, are you doing the same?
Oh yeah, I mean they just
Divided
gave
all
the gold
200,
to
yeah.
Ariana, so
Sorry,
Divided all 200.
yeah, I
Sorry.
think we just generally split between the four of us.
I have to check. That's fine.
When the money is handed to us in front of each other.
Yeah.
In front
Wait,
of
what are you talking? Like, I haven't kept money.
Otherwise,
There we go.
I'll add it to my thing.
Oh,
They're
sure.
doing quite well.
I'm doing
Yeah.
all right, but I'm also
For a
very
lowly
conscious of
human,
how
I'm
much
doing
things
fairly
cost.
good.
Yeah, you don't want to get caught with that money, maybe. That seems like
Yeah.
it could be real bad.
Carrying
Maybe
it
it
forward.
would be better held in the bag of holding, perhaps.
Oh, you're carrying it for a friend, are you? That sounds real convincing when people say that.
No, I've got a bag of holding. It's in the bag of holding.
Ah, right. Yeah.
it sounds,
I
it
might
sounds
have
more
pulled something
convincing
up.
if you're talking about money than if you're
Yeah.
talking about like drugs. I'm just carrying it for a friend. What, a friend give you 500 gold? Yeah.
I don't know if you're an
I
American
don't
man
have
and you
nearly
get pulled
that
over, but we're not going to get into that.
No. Is there anything in particular you would like to do or talk about as you travel? Or is
No.
everyone happy for me to jump you there?
Right.
Yeah.
Have we seen any other? I don't think we have, but have we seen any other human, like servants or anything on this train?
There was one or two, but literally the most there could have been that would have you'd have perceived in the previous carriage that you travelled through was one or two. They're well hidden, kept out of the way, very adept at keeping themselves to themselves, and probably owned, but two at the most.
Okay.
You literally doubled the amount of humans on this train as soon as you got on board.
We usually do.
That's
We're
all.
on to red.
Was that it? Yeah? Okay.
Yeah, I think we're just going to skip.
Okay. Okay, so the day passes uneventfully then. Lunchtime passes again. The younger one on his own this time knocks the door,
I'm dressed.
makes small talk at Oriana while staring at her quite lecherously.
It's
But
gravy
brings lunch,
time.
and it is just enough to feed everyone instead of just 2 servings for Sepsis and Hugin and Moonin. It is then around about tea time that the guards come back and the older one is there once more. This time there is food, but it seems to be wrapped up. It is not open and ready to eat as it has been previously. And the older one motions for him to put the wrapped up packages down on the table. Depending on, obviously, when you wanted to eat, it is... I just wanted to warn you that very soon we will, or maybe in the next hour or so, we will arrive in Londinium.
Oh, it's faster than I expected.
Gravy time.
Well, the land trains, we do breed the beasts that pull them quite well, and this one especially, since he came here, has greatly improved the efficiency of how fast we can travel across Albion. A few more like him, and we very well may be able to go a bit further north quite quicker and finally take Pickland. And he nods at you with a big proud smile on his face. But yes, we have made incredibly good time, especially as we were not then, thankfully, slowed down in Kaleva by any unfortunate unsolved mysteries.
Yes.
And he smiles gratefully at you both. Not at, obviously, the human slaves. Yes, I will say, as, of course, and he looks down. Instead of looking at you, he looks down, so he does not have to betray himself by glancing at your servants. Having noticed that they do not bear the customary wrist cuffs that are more prevalent on the continent, or in fact in Albion, it suffice to say that you picked up your servants in Kimra.
Yes.
It would do well for you to, as quickly as possible, while in Londinium, have them fitted with wrist cuffs instead. A lot less questions get asked, and you find your way through a great many doors is eased.
Do you suggest somewhere to get them fitted?
Oh, there are many elven smithies that you can have them done at for a very reasonable price. It depends what kind of extras you want your slaves' arm pieces to do. You do know how they work. Have you owned an Empire slave before?
Not to my knowledge. I'm aware roughly how the brace cuffs work, though.
Well, yes. Obviously, your bog standard is still one of the easiest methods of control, but you can have a locator, especially the military find that their meat shields tend to have one's a brace cuff of warning. So it glows or apparently vibrates when danger approaches.
Oh. Quite a lot of extras that can be added then.
Depending on the coin in your pocket, yes.
Well, we'll have to look into it.
I would say tell them I sent you, but no one knows me, so that wouldn't help. But please, go with my thanks. Thank you very much. My wife will be overjoyed that my pension is not affected by what happened yesterday, and my record can continue to be untarnished.
Enjoy your retirement.
Thank you. Hopefully, the train will run as smoothly when the younger generation take over, and he throws shade at the guy next to him.
Do you live in Londinium, sir?
I do not. I live. Actually, we move further away from my home every moment. I have a lovely piece of land, a large, I say farm. It's many farms that I have humans work on, and my lands turn a fair profit that my wife spends.
As a wife should.
Yes, which is why she thinks my pension is a lot smaller than it actually is.
Clever man.
So smile into my hood like.
I actually live quite a fair bit closer to Kimra.
Oh.
Have you heard of Gloucester?
Yes. In passing.
I have a large plot of land just outside of the town of Gloucester.
Sounds lovely.
It's rustic, but in my retirement, I hope to get a lot done. But you don't need to listen to me. Thank you again for all that you did, and good luck in your future endeavors.
And to you.
And to you.
Enjoy your retirement when it comes.
And he leaves and gives you a blessing in Elvish, which only, I believe, Oriana can understand. Even a native speaker of Elvish, this is an ancient dialect. It seems like it's an old passing saying that only an actual elf would probably have had handed down from their parents and their parents before them. It roughly translates in New Elvish into Common to something like, may all of your future days be happy and uneventful.
Thought it was going to be, y'all come back now, you hear?
But yes, they leave the carriage. Everyone roll a perception check for me.
I don't wanna.
I won't.
Oh, okay.
Ah, well.
7.
Got a worm back.
21.
Mind.
22.
Ooh, the humans do
Worm?
well.
No.
Okay. Sepsis?
No.
Okay. Well,
roll.
Worm can't tell you. Sepsis definitely is.
Worm rolled, I don't want to tell you what.
okay. Fortunately then, your friends are perceptive enough that as they notice and point out to you, throughout the day as you've been travelling, the landscape around you has been very much the same. Between breakfast and lunch, you stop once at a small town and train station, take on a few more passengers, let off a couple from the carriage behind, and you continued onwards. The landscape around you changing very little. Low, rolling hills, as far as the eye could see, north and south, not a mountain in sight. Every once in a while there was evidence of a small village or farm off in the distance, but nothing too close to the track. That was up until now, up until tea time, where you started to notice that the towns are a lot more frequent, or small villages are a lot more frequent, a lot more close together. The farms between them small and almost creating an unnatural kind of wall almost between villages, which may be the only way that they can tell them apart. Until suddenly these villages seem to sprawl together, the hills in the distance being covered in the farms to feed them, but no discernible difference between one town centre and another. And then the buildings start to get taller, and the sky begins to get darker. You can see smoke dominating the horizon in the distance, and the buildings get taller and taller, and the train begins to slow. And as you begin to turn south, in fact, no longer heading west, you come to a speed which you would be comfortable just stepping off the train at. It is very slow, but very constant as it starts to navigate. And you can see now that the buildings are 5 stories tall. And they block out almost your entire vision at anything past it, anything more than 5 feet away from the train itself. The buildings are that close to the train yard. Until there is a moment when Ace and Dice jump up and point it out to Sepsis and Oriana at the same time. And you can just see between 2 large buildings, and the sky kind of opens up. And the last of the day's sun shines through. And the vision in front of you seems almost impossible. Oriana, Dice, Ace, you can see buildings taller than you could have possibly imagined. You saw the one spire which took your breath away when you were in the city of Tau. You saw the one in Cardiff. Londinium is dominated, its skyline is dominated by maybe 20 of them, all fighting each other for dominance, as each one seems like it's clawing towards the sky, a couple of them actually disappearing in the smoke or clouds overhead. The city looks sparkling, but it seems to rise from a dome out of the floor. It seems to be built on the top of one giant hill, but the hill itself seems to be made out of buildings and streets. Sepsis. As your attention is called by Ace and Dice, do you look out the window?
No.
And so, the vision disappears. You are again enclosed on all sides by buildings that stretch maybe 5 stories up, and suddenly it gets much darker, and it is brighter inside the carriage than without. Because you notice as you try and crane your head to look as far up as you can out the window, there is now a roof over your heads. You've entered a tunnel. The echo of the noise of the land train reverberates against the windows that you're now hanging to see what might come up ahead. But the train starts to straighten, and again slow, until at last you come out of the tunnel and there is smoke everywhere. You cannot see what is around you for a moment, but the train comes to a stop. The door at the front of the carriage opens. Your guard friends, or at least the older one, comes back. I bid you welcome then to the great city of Londinium, capital of Albion and part of the Elven Empire in this region.
Wow.
Please, first class passengers are allowed to disembark first.
I crouch down and pull what looks like a swaddle of blankets out from underneath the table, and then start cradling it, and Honey pops his head out. And I just start fixing him to the front of me again.
That's a badger.
Fantastic
Half-orcs are very
observation.
Eccentric.
Fantastic investigator. I suppose one must be allowed certain eccentricities.
They've got a great sense of smell.
Yes. Quite.
Honey has been
Anyway.
invaluable in many of our investigations.
Very good at tracking.
And mauling.
Yeah.
So, this way, if you wish, to disembark.
I follow.
Takes you to the door, and you step off. The stairs have been placed there by, as you step onto the platform, 2 elven guards who are standing there in the smoke trying to wave it away. You can see the collapsible set of stairs, quite intricate in its design, has been placed there for you to kind of walk down. And as you all disembark, the stairs are very quickly folded up and taken away again, but they're not being taken back to the rear carriage. They're being taken back to wherever they are stored. And as you look around you can see above, and at first you are taken aback because there is a sickly green glow coming from the entire ceiling above, and the ceiling above is huge. It's maybe 100 feet across, wide and long, and it is made entirely from a thin pane of the crystal that was mined underneath Fourth Tower.
Do I feel any effects from it?
Probably a perception check,
All right.
Should I as well, or?
if you want to.
That's going to be 19.
19.
And mine's 15.
Okay. The both of you then. You can't, neither of you can quite put your finger on it. It is so faint, but it is definitely there. There is a very subtle feeling of illness. An unnatural, disease-like presence in your bodies. Not enough to slow you or affect you, but having been under the effect of this crystal before, you know when this feeling is out of place. You did not feel it until you got here. And it's because of the giant skylight.
I turn and mutter to Ace. I wonder how many of these cities act as farms, sort of hidden away. You can't see what they're doing, but slowly the humans are affected by this over time.
Yeah, I would wonder that too. And if the use of it as decoration is to keep us a bit
little
more
bit weaker.
subordinate.
Yeah, I would agree.
I look up at it and say, that looks expensive.
Yes, very astute.
As you look around then, you find yourself, it almost reminds you of being inside a castle. You've been inside ruins before. There were a lot around Nidum as a child. And it's like the inside of the ruins of a castle or an abbey. An outer wall, a courtyard that you now find yourselves in. And as you look back towards the rear of the train, you can see just behind it is what would effectively be then the entrance to the castle. And you can even see the portcullis above it. And it's strange considering you entered through a tunnel, but it seems that this station is rather heavily guarded. You can see then that the land train does continue on, but drops quite dramatically into the ground. But as you look, you can see that the drop quite dramatically into the ground is covered in bars and pipes and chains, as if no one is allowed to go down there.
Does it look like it's ever opened? The chains and the bars and everything?
They look relatively new, but it does also look like it would be incredibly difficult to open. It's one of those things that is put there, so if it ever has to be taken off, it's only coming off once.
Just check as well. Does it look... Can I see any signs? When you say it's a sharp drop, is there like a slope down into the hole, or is it literally a sheer drop?
No, that's a slope down.
The slope down, does that have any footprints in it, or track marks up or down, as though something might be trying to get out or something trying to get in?
Because of the distance you're looking at it from, it's maybe about 60 feet away. Instead of an investigation, I want you to roll me a perception check.
But I don't like perception checks. They're not as good.
But you're not close enough, unless you want to move away from your companions.
I can't. I rolled an 18.
Okay.
Very perceptive today.
You do see then that this drop seems to be relatively new in its construction. You're looking around at the bricks and the walls. All of these bars have a lot less weathering, a lot less rust than all other metal in the construction of this area. A lot less wear. And it looks as if this has been recently dug and then very recently covered up. This was not a previous track. This looks like it might have been the beginning of a new one, but then they stopped and decided against it.
Okay. That's weird, but okay. I'll let that go for now. I feel like we're describing a chair.
As you look around then, there are quite a few elven guards mulling about the courtyard. There are, however, an inordinate amount of humans. There's loads of them. More than you've ever seen in one place apart from Nidum.
How are they dressed?
How are they dressed?
Mm.
Some are malnourished, wearing rags. Some are look quite well off. Very well dressed, in fact. However, all are wearing wrist braces.
I turn to Ori and go, very quietly, again, because I don't want anyone to hear that I'm saying things, but I'm still wearing the cloak and everything. I turn to Ori and go, it might be worth changing us over to the wrist braces, but as long as they don't have any of the damage spells or anything that would restrict us, it could be worth it.
I was looking to get just a blank set.
Oh, hang on now. It might be useful to have something.
No.
That guard was talking about location or warning.
My worry
wonder
would be if somebody else could use it then.
I don't think that's how they work.
It wouldn't work on me anyway, I don't think. I think the amulet would protect me from being located, regardless of what was on the wrist brace.
Well, I don't know if it's you being located or the wrist brace.
As the wrist brace... Reg, point of order, would the amulet affect the wrist brace? If the wrist brace had a locate spell on it, and I'm wearing the amulet, and the wrist brace, would it then stop the wrist brace's location feature working?
Roll me an Arcana check.
Okay. I need to find my Arcana. You'd think it'd be easier on this, but it's not really.
It's at the top.
16? No, it's not. 16.
So the top of skills.
Yeah, no, I know that. I wasn't on screen.
I know. I was saying to Bri.
What was that? Sorry, 16. Okay. You know from your experience with spells, which unfortunately is probably not as much as Oriana and Sepsis, because you know more about the technical workings behind getting spells to work as opposed to their effects and how powerful they can be. You do know, though, or from the knowledge that you've gathered in the teachings that were given to you, you can determine that certain spells, depending on their level, if those levels are the same, could either cancel each other out entirely or will work against each other intermittently, if they are meant to work constantly.
Okay.
So depending on how powerful the location spell on the wrist brace would be,
I have to.
you may be worried about the amulet actually still hiding you.
Yeah. It would be a bad idea, I think. Can I explain that?
Maybe.
That was my thinking.
Perhaps there's something for communication.
Now that could
It'd
be
be
more
helpful.
worthwhile.
That would be useful.
Really useful.
I don't know. It's worth looking into. Obviously, I don't know what the costs are and how
Well,
everyone is for money.
Well, let's go find out the cost.
Let's do that
And
first.
if it's possible.
Yes.
You do, as you look around then, you do clock that there is, in fact, a few humans dressed in almost the same livery as the station guards. Just a lot less embellished and with no sign of rank on them. But they are standing to attention, looking up and down the train platform.
I'm feeling a little ill, actually. Could we find somewhere to stay? Find some rooms, and then maybe you guys can go and look for somewhere to get these wrist things fitted
We
while
can.
I have a lie down.
Substance, we weren't intending to stay for long. I think we're due to go and find.
We need to go find this. I can't remember the name. I thought I wrote it down, but apparently I didn't.
Rich the people to get into the Underdark. When's that happening?
That was happening in, hopefully, the next day. You made good enough time that you didn't arrive the next morning as you should have. You arrived the previous evening. So that isn't actually due to happen until tomorrow.
So we can get a place to stay for tonight.
I think it's probably required.
Sepsis, do you want me to check you over if you're not feeling well?
No, I think I just need to lie down.
It's been a long train journey. It's not always restful for everyone, I guess.
And perhaps the wardrobe might not have been comfiest place to sleep.
Oh, actually, the wardrobe was very comfortable. I just feel a bit peaky is all.
Okay. Well, let's go find somewhere to stay, and then we can look for somewhere for the bracelets.
All right.
Okay.
Can we not end up in a hunter inn, please?
Would prefer not to.
We'll look for something a bit nicer.
All right. We are going in hunting.
Okay. The only exit that seems available by foot is a large posted door that's off to one side of the station. And you see a lot of humans then carrying boxes in and out from piles left near where the train would pull in, so they can be loaded on and off. That seems to be where most of the foot traffic is heading out to the station. Do you want to carry on that way?
Yeah.
You'll move to join the line then. As you do so, one of the humans that you saw dressed in the livery of the station guard kind of hurries over, bows his head in front of Oriana and Sepsis. And she goes, 1,000 apologies for encroaching on your day with my presence.
Out with it.
Just spit it out.
There is a better exit for you.
Then show us.
You do not have to travel with the riffraff.
Point.
Do you wish for your servants to come with you?
Yes.
Yes.
Very well. Please, if you would be so kind to follow me. You are then taken to a bear. A bear.
A bear?
Yes, a bear. Where? There on the stair. No, you're
It's a
taken.
No.
You're taken to a bare part of the wall with nothing that differentiates it from any other bare patch of earth or stone.
What's
However,
that? It's losing all meaning.
I know he does then knock in a rhythmic motion on one of the stones, and they seem to slide apart. And inside is a very well decorated, but incredibly small square room with no furniture, but a beautiful room nonetheless. There is another human standing inside it, dressed in, again, quite clean clothes, station livery. And he nods. Going upstairs.
Indeed.
Very good. Please step on.
We do.
Yeah, we get in.
Cool.
I am very interested.
Okay. And as you step on, with a very faint clank and a clatter of chains, the entire room, you can feel, starts to move straight up. It takes maybe 30 seconds, but again, another clank and a clatter, and the opposite wall from where you entered folds away. And before you, you can see a wide and expansive street.
Ace tries not to look as startled as they are.
Can I make some sort of check to try and work out how it functions? Please.
What, the lift?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The system of pulleys.
For you, it would be an Arcana check because you're an officer.
Cool. Yeah, that's a solid 10. I'm not on my game today.
You think it's some kind of system of pulleys?
Good.
It appears to run on some sort of electricity.
I understood that reference. But yes, you
Didn't.
walk out onto the street. It is... You're immediately hit with the thought that if you combined the busy streets of Tau, Cardiff, and Portal, then double the amount of people that were in all three of those busy streets combined, that's what the street before you feels like. You're immediately pushed, as you step out, you're in a huge mass of people moving to and fro. No one.
Bless you.
No one stops. No one seems to be looking at each other in the eye. There is a huge press of all races that just sort of move to and fro. All you can see above their heads is the buildings that stretch off in the distance.
You're right.
I will be in a second. I don't know why. They normally come in threes. Oh, God.
Our DM has the worst, most dramatic sneezes in the universe. He always looks like his head might explode afterwards.
Feels like it as
His
well.
nose is broken.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, it's pretty broken.
Yeah.
So yes, there are the street itself. From you've noticed that you've entered onto the street off the side. It stretches off to the left and the right, and far into the distance you can see huge buildings. The shortest of which are about 5 stories tall, stretching far off until they're blurred in the distance. There are many streets moving off them. It does curve to the right, but it seems to go straight towards the left. The buildings around you are so tall that you cannot see the spires that you clocked earlier over them. Each of the buildings seems to be hewn from a different coloured stone. There are greys, some browns, one building that off in the distance that seems almost entirely black, as if made from obsidian. Because it wouldn't be a game of D&D without an obsidian building.
Obsidian towers are standard.
Not enough obsidian.
No, there hasn't been that much obsidian up until now, episode 32.
Polished obsidian flooring.
But even the marble buildings are dirty with the grime of smoke and life.
Sounds like London, yes.
Grime. Place like London.
The only place that you see then that people don't walk through is effectively the center of the road. The road itself is maybe 50, 60 feet across, and the middle 20 feet are taken up entirely by a constant traffic of horses, carts, much larger than carriages, larger than carts. They seem to be just these huge, some metal, but mostly wooden boxes that seem to be carrying goods pulled by large exotic beasts that you have never seen or heard from. Huge horns with scaled face, but then a very hairy body that does not seem to be natural. At least what you know, from what you know, is natural anyway.
Can I make an Arcana check against the previous discovery we made about the magically created cows?
Mm-hmm.
I just want to see if they're like the same sort of thing. I think
Okay.
they are,
Roll
but...
me a Arcana check with advantage then.
Oh, cool. Advantage, lovely. Yeah, it
We're
didn't.
being spoilt.
21.
Okay. Looking at them then, some of them are very reminiscent of animals that you have read about. The ancient versions and the descendants of which were known as mammoths, elephants, not native to this country, but certainly large enough to be probably the parent, at least, of the beasts you can see in front of you. These, though, are bred with something else. They seem almost draconic in nature, but still at least one of them has the huge tusks that people are very wary of staying out of the way of as it trundles past, pulling a storage cart that seems to be as big as a house.
So not very friendly looking.
Well, you can't tell whether it looks very friendly. The driver on it, sitting on its head, certainly not.
I tend to worry.
Human, but he just looks angry at the world.
They seem to be mixing a lot of creatures and magic together to create things like this. Look at it!
It's yeah. That's big.
Everyone roll a perception check.
Okay.
Hi.
I have returned to form. 10.
Okay.
13.
Worm also got a 10.
I was doing so well.
I got 13.
Okay, what did you get, Ace?
Nat 20.
Okay.
So a 22.
Take these all.
Okay. So, sepsis and dice.
Yes.
Well, Oriana doesn't notice. Sepsis and dice, surprisingly.
Worm and dice.
Sepsis, because Worm was looking for you and you didn't care. So
Yeah.
sepsis and dice don't actually notice. But Ace does. As two small childlike hands find their way into your voluminous folds and your clothes, dice, and come away with a pouch each.
Okay. Ace is going to try and grab them before they get away.
Okay, roll me an athletics check.
Okay.
You're
Why not
are
see
you going to
this?
try and grab what? You see two kids basically, Ace. You're going to try and grab
I'm
one of
gonna
them or two of them?
go for both. 'Cause
Sorry,
roll me-
presumably
okay.
they're-
I rolled
Roll me-
13.
Roll me an athletics check with advantage.
Okay.
No, disadvantage, sorry, because you're going to try and grab both of them.
Okay.
I'm guessing I don't see this.
No, not the 13.
That was on my rubbish roll 20. So
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, they both fail. Suddenly then, the first you notice that anything is amiss, the three of you, is when you turn and you see Ace then holding aloft as they dangle and kick their feet in the air. Two small children, they can't be older than maybe 10, 11.
Just sort of holding
What
them by their
race?
wrists.
Point of order, bitch.
Human.
I actually clarified earlier that my purse was in the bag of holding, so I'd love to see them be holding it.
Okay, then they're holding the bag of holding.
It's worse. Okay, good. Thank you.
Ace, what on earth are you doing with those two small children? Stop playing around. We're on
Hey,
the way
that's
to
my
find.
bag.
They're humans, yeah?
Yeah, they're humans. One's a boy, one's a girl.
These two tried to make off with our belongings.
Oh.
I stand move closer and sort of loom over them and just hold my hand out.
I draw my dagger.
We are very sorry, miss, but they were falling off. And there's a lot of tea leaves about, and we didn't want you to lose them, so we were just gonna, this strap is old. It was coming undone.
Shut up.
All right.
I walk over.
Where I come from, little bastards like you that get caught like that get their hands cut off. And I pull a dagger from my belt.
I already have my dagger out.
Well,
So do we just chop your hands off now?
We
I
could just cut.
am a half orc leaning over them.
We could just cut their throats.
Ace is looking like
Okay,
increasingly
one of you
uncomfortable.
roll an intimidation check with advantage.
Yeah.
Not Ace.
Who wants
What
to
you got
roll
on that?
intimidation?
I've got a +7.
Same. You go for it.
That is a nat 20, so that is 27. I'm
They
going
are
to make these children
horrified.
wet themselves.
They have peed.
Don't pee on me.
You've got
You're
wet
not-
shoes.
The girl looks suitably cowed and hangs her head. The boy, the one who was speaking, actually shuts up so quickly he looks like he's in pain. He may have bitten his tongue.
Oh.
And you do hear, even over the hustle and bustle of all of the people around you who are doing their best to ignore what's going on in this small circle of people at the moment, you do hear the small patter of liquid as something trickles from his trouser leg onto the floor below.
Snatch back our stuff off them.
And I take back my bag and put it under my cloak and do it back up.
Ace lowers them to the floor.
Yeah. Get out of my sight.
I'm very sorry now, miss, but
Get
that's
out.
very good. And they both, you drop them, miss?
Yeah.
I place them.
Yeah.
And they both scuttle off.
The temptation to Eldritch blast these children as they walk away.
Really? Because I'm tempted to ask them and give them money. That's
Hand
just the kind of
sepsis their
person I-
purse back. Hide it in a different fold.
Yes.
They were clearly skilled, though.
You think they could have been fathers? But
Then-
here in Albion?
At their age, I doubt it.
I doubt it, and I don't know. And honestly, they need to pick their targets better.
Only one of them could have been a father, and I think they were too young.
That's not what. Do you know what? Okay, let's go and get the wrist braces. Feel bad for the child. You made the child pee themselves, Ori.
Remember earlier
Well,
when I
hopefully
said
they'll
I'd like
learn
to
to
find...
pick their targets better.
Remember
Are
earlier when I
Ace's
said I'd
shoes
like to
wet?
find rooms first?
Yes, we'll find rooms. Are Ace's shoes wet?
No.
Oh, good.
Just to hold them away.
Held them away enough.
Even on the streets, the street below you, even though it's paved, there is a unhealthy layer of dust, grime, and something else that coats the paved cobbles below your feet. And it is soft and slippery as you walk. That urine didn't do much to add any worse to it.
Sort of shake my boot while I'm walking and go.
Everyone else, as you look around, everyone else just seems used to it and just continues to walk around. By the way, anyone from London, this is not a commentary on what I
Yeah,
think
it
in the
is.
city.
Yeah, it is.
It's
It's
a lovely-
exactly
it's
like
a-
it's there.
Lovely place to visit.
It's a lovely place. The
Wouldn't
people.
I
wanna
like
live
that
there.
you're like emphasis on the to visit.
Lovely place to visit.
Yeah.
Bry's
Aw.
very annoyed. I think Bry's very annoyed that we chased off his urchins and now we don't get to go and meet Fagin.
Oh, fuck that. I'm not getting involved with another Fagin character.
Well, we'll see what I do later. Moving on.
Look, we came here with a purpose and we're sticking to that purpose.
Okay. So you are looking for lodgings for the evening.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
Okay. Can you please, everyone, then roll me an investigation check?
Ideally, I'm looking for somewhere quite close to the area we are now.
Oh, that was a terrible
All right.
roll.
Okay.
I was D1.
11.
Sorry, Rich. Perception or investigation?
Investigation.
I got 17 then.
16.
Okay.
3.
Sepsis and dice then. As you're walking around, you ask, well, a lot of you are asking around. Very few people will actually speak to Ace. People tend to be quite scared when Oriana comes up to them and start getting quite flustered, and the directions you get from them are quite useless. Sepsis and dice both come to the same conclusion quite quickly. You start to look around for other passengers that have left the station where you were. You very quickly find the tunnel that they are exiting through, and you see that human porters carrying their bags are all effectively heading in two particular directions. Off left, down from the station. Some heading quickly with the more affluent looking guests or the riders of the train. Some heading slightly more slowly in more grubby clothing on the opposite side of the street. They all effectively get to, almost directly opposite each other, two large buildings. One faced in marble, looks slightly cleaner than the buildings on either side of it. It's about 5 stories tall, and from what you've seen in Cardiff and Town, looks relatively like what you would expect a quite plush hotel to look like from the outside. On the other side of the street, you do see the slightly more hard-pressed, grubbier individuals from the train being herded into what looks like a rundown town. This one is about 7 stories tall. However, its height seems to be a cause for concern because, as with the marble building, which stands perfectly erect and strong, straight between the two buildings on either side of it, with small thin alleys on either side, this one seems to have at some point in its history fallen to one side and is leaning against the building on its left.
Ari, can we go for the one that doesn't look like it's going to fall down in the night?
Yeah, we're staying in the posh one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why not? Let's treat ourselves.
We've been sleeping in coaches for some time, so...
Treat yourself.
Treat yourself.
Yes.
I head straight for the posh one.
Okay. You enter the posh one. The stairs, there are a few marble steps leading up to it, which have been, you can see there are people, even now, humans, in quite well dressed, standing on either side of it, with very dirty rags that they are trying to hide but failing in their hands. And you can see, even as 2 orcs walk up these stairs in front of you, quite well dressed, one of the humans runs out and very quickly wipes his footsteps off the front steps, and then stands off on the other side. He runs out, like a ball boy in tennis, just goes and it's gone as quickly as he appears.
Wow.
All right.
Do you enter the hotel?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
You walk up the hotel, and the lobby, as you enter it, is exactly as you expected from the marble outside. There is marble, a lot of I'm pretty sure not gold leaf. There seems to be quite a lot of solid gold used in the decoration of this place. Gold paint. It is stunning. There is a ceiling that is some kind of stone, but polished to the point where it's almost mirrored. And you can see it's strange how you look like a ghostly apparition just upside down as you stare up at it. But in front of you is a desk that is handled currently by maybe about 5 different receptionists. And the queue is about 3 deep for each person. This is a very busy hotel, it seems.
I get in a queue.
This could cost a fortune, you know that, right?
It's on me.
I can help, Ori.
The closer you get, the closer you realize as well that most of the receptionists are also human.
Huh.
Roll a perception check.
Yeah. Ooh, nice, 20.
8.
14.
Wim doesn't care.
Well. Oh, 18.
Well done.
Worm then and Dice see Worm, because of his vantage point, sees just over the desk. There is a incredibly well dressed, a very short, gnarled, and scarred goblin standing there with 5 very thin chains stretching from his hand, snaking across the floor in 5 different directions, and then snaking up the back of each human receptionist. The chains are attached to a collar around their neck, which is much flashier than the ones around yours, but they're still wearing their cuffs as well. This just seems to be an extra affectation that the goblin seems to enjoy.
That's an exceptionally classy place. Ori, look.
I want to live here.
No, the chains on the humans.
Oh. Yeah, not so keen on that.
No, but the furniture's nice, and they all... Do they look well-fed, or do they look starving and sad?
They look incredibly well fed. You're pretty certain that the 3 of them who are female are wearing makeup and jewelry.
All right. So
They
they
seem
look...
to be well cared for,
They at least look well looked after.
but still have a reminder that they're not free.
Well.
It takes maybe 20 minutes for you to eventually get to the front of the queue. Everyone seems to be getting wound up the longer it takes to get to the front of the queue, but the humans seem to be very practiced in calming people down. You can hear a myriad of languages coming from each human as a different race approaches them. Goblin, Orcish, Elvish. You can catch a little bit of Infernal, as there is a very dark-skinned tiefling in one of the other queues. Her horns not quite as elaborate and large as Oriana's, but still a lot more pronounced than the other pink skins that you've seen. And her skin seems to be a much deeper scarlet.
I make it obvious that I'm checking her out. Yeah, still
But
check
you
her
can
out.
hear all of these languages being exchanged by the humans as well. They do seem quite learned, and they change quickly from Orcish to Goblin to Infernal to Elvish seamlessly. And even though the guests then waiting in the queues are very wound up, by the time they get to the front, they're very quickly calmed. They are very well looked after. So you eventually get to the front. You get closer, then one of the receptionists in front of you is female. She stands there, maybe 5 foot tall, quite slight, dark haired, very pretty, maybe early 20s.
I need a room for the night.
Of course, and starts speaking to you in Orcish. Can you speak Orcish?
I'll sort of check. I can.
Okay. She starts speaking to you. She starts speaking to you in fluent Orcish, and says, "Of course, madam. How can I? How many of you will we be having stay with us?"
There's myself and my friend and our 2, and I just nod towards Dice and Ace.
Oh, so will you be wanting them kept in the cellar with the others, or will you be wanting them upstairs?
Upstairs.
Very well. It is slightly more expensive.
That's fine.
No problem. So for 2 of you in the Nilton, we are looking for, it is 100 gold an evening.
100 gold for the night.
Yes. If you were to go for more, there is a discount the more nights you purchase.
We only need the one night. We won't be here tomorrow night.
Very well. That's 100 gold each and 20 for the human.
100 gold each and 20 for the humans. So 240 altogether.
Yes. But the evening's entertainment, food, and room service is included in this price.
Oh, bargain. Okay then.
I'll pay my own.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Are
I'll
you
split
two
it with
able
you.
to pay your own?
Yeah.
Oh, we're gonna.
But we won't be able to give you.
Okay, I'm so I know how much gold to remove from myself. That's all.
Yeah, I can pay the 20 gold per human. It's
Cool.
not-
Yeah. So I hand over the gold.
Very well. And she clicks her fingers, and a small gnome, young gnome, but
Young gnome, there's a place you could
much
go. I said,
pinker,
young gnome.
much pinker and like paler skin than the rock gnomes you're used to out and about in the towns and cities you visited. This one seems to be wearing a wrist cuff.
Oh.
But he comes over and are there bags?
No.
Well, if you follow me, then I'll take you up to your rooms.
Thank you.
Is that all right? Yes, please come this way, if you will.
But just before we step away, I make sure to look at the receptionist and actually thank her, and then.
As you do, then roll me perception or insight, whichever one you prefer.
They're exactly the same. 17.
Okay. For which one?
Yeah, they're both the same.
But choose one, and you get a different answer.
Insight.
Insight. Okay. She, in a very practiced way, hides her emotions, hides the fact, but you can see through it that she is very shocked, almost to inaction, by the fact that you have thanked her for anything, that anyone has said those words.
Thank her in Orcish, but yeah.
Yes.
Sounds like working retail again.
The others, able to speak Orcish, all very quickly give a sideways glance at you in the same kind of shock, but just as quickly go back to what they were doing. The entire reception is very shocked by your actions. And the gnome.
Alright, let's go, gnome.
Okay. The gnome walks off. You do see now doors that slide open, and you step on. They were just about to close before you approached, but the gnome kind of waves his hand and the doors slide back open. And inside are the two very well-dressed orcs that entered just before you did in their honor. And they're now waiting there in, again, a very small, well-decorated room with no furniture. As the gnome steps on, he nods to another one of the human employees of the hotel, and that human who's standing there holding the wall slides his hand in a very particular fashion. And again, the doors slide close, and the room you were in begins to move backwards. There's no clank of a chain this time. There is, however, a buzz, very low buzz, that Oriana, Sepsis, and Dice notice. Ace does not. It takes a moment, takes a few minutes, but eventually the buzz stops, as does the room. The doors slide open again, and the corridor stretches out before you. The gnome steps off, again nods to the human in control of the lift, and you follow?
Yeah.
Okay. You follow the gnome, leaving the two orcs on the lift.
I wink at them as I get out.
The orcs both kind of look at each other, smile, and both go very obviously wink at you as you move away, being like they're like 8 foot tall and wide.
Subtle.
Every move that was subtle for them. And the doors slide shut, and again the three of you hear a very faint buzz which disappears off into the distance above you. The gnome, though, trudges on. You catch up to him easily, and you can see now he's double-stepping just to keep ahead of you. Not asking any of you to slow down, because that would be rude. And eventually comes to a halt in front of a large ornate door and hands you what looks like a very shiny pebble.
Thank you.
Cheers.
That's all right, milady. If you hold it up to the door, it will open.
Is it possible to have two of those in case we both want to leave separately?
Yes, of course, sir. And he hands you another one.
Master, what if you send one of us on an errand? Would it be wise to have a spare as a suggestion? And I duck my head, looking as cowed as I can while suggesting this.
2 will be plenty.
Two is all that's allowed.
That's fine, don't worry. I put it on the door and open the door.
And the gnome nods and hurries off.
2's fine.
Inside is a very well-appointed sitting room. Lots of very plush furniture. It's quite large, maybe 50 feet across. There is a door on either side, rather obvious and open currently, both doors. And as you move further into the room, you can see through each door is a large plush bed. Those are the bedrooms. There is another door slightly more hidden, though it is open. And now you've walked into the room, you can see that inside is the water closet. And just off to the other side is what looks like another door, but this one is closed. But you do see in Elvish and Gnomish, written to the side of the door, it says servants' quarters.
I stick my head in the servants' quarters.
There's a bunk bed.
Ooh.
Enough for three, enough for two. However, there are also some fold-away beds in the corner as well.
I look at it and go, Ori, we're sharing.
Who says I'm sleeping in the servant quarters?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I meant I'm coming to snuggle you. I don't like bunk beds.
Oh, you're not going to fight for top bunk?
Well, I thought Ace might not want to share a room. They usually prefer to be...
Well, maybe Ace should take top bunk and Sepsis would take bottom bunk. And by bottom bunk, I mean the floor under the bottom bunk.
I was about to suggest that they'd probably be doing that.
Don't be silly. Sepsis will be in a cupboard.
I mean, this pretty much is a cupboard with a bed in it.
It's true. Sepsis, we found your room.
I'm under the desk. I presume there's a desk. There's always a desk.
There is.
Hey, you okay? I was only joking. You can have the room you paid for.
I'm very tired. I've just wriggled under the desk. I'm fully under there.
Okay.
I pull a sheet off the bed and hang it over the desk to make like a little fort for them.
Aww.
Like just have some peace and quiet, and I put the sheet over.
I'll exit the servant quarters then and go into the main space so I can give them some peace.
Shall we...
Go for a bath!
You're going for a bath now, not going to do the wrist bracelets.
Yeah, alright, let's do the wrist bracelets first.
Let's get it done and then...
It is, as you look at your watch, Oriana, 9 o'clock in the evening. It's starting to get dark out.
I don't know if anywhere's still going to be open. I'm going to go for a bath.
Hey, can I have your key?
You can't go out in the city as a human.
Why? There were tons of humans around.
Yeah, but you're still wearing just a collar and not a wrist brace.
So I'm still
she has a
inside
point.
you.
You're so at risk of being stopped.
Okay, but so I'm on our errand. I'll come back.
I just don't know. No.
So you're
Not
telling
with
me
them.
I can't leave?
Dice, everything is different here. This isn't Cowdid or Camria where a human can go out on an errand while wearing a collar. You're going to get stopped here and you're going to get in trouble.
I'm sorry,
Once you've got a wrist brace, fine.
No, you seem to be misunderstanding me here. I'm going out. Can I have a key?
Do you know what? Fine. And I launch it at you.
I attempt to catch it.
Okay, Oriana, roll a...
Athletics.
No, it's an improvised weapon, so roll a dex check for me.
I don't think she's trying to hurt me with it. Well,
Yeah.
how much I've pissed her off, to be fair, but...
I'm just launching it in her direction, but yeah. That's only 10.
Okay. So you do no damage to dice, but dice, roll a dex check to catch.
I miss. Neither of us are dexterous, apparently.
Did you get?
6.
It still bonks you on the head. Not hard enough to damage you, but it still bonks you on the head as she dodges it.
I just walk off into the bathroom and slam the door without even looking where it hit.
I look furious, pick up the key, and walk out through the door.
Ace is sort of stood between both, being like,
Some people's response to being worried about someone is anger. And
I send Worm to follow Dice.
you send Worm to follow dice.
Yes.
Okay.
Worms
Invisibly.
do I
so
notice
bored.
this, or?
Invisibly.
Oh, okay.
Worm's going to be so bored. I'm not doing what anyone thinks I'm doing.
Ace, what are you doing?
Ace is going to follow them.
You're going to follow dice?
Yeah.
Okay. Sexist?
I've curled up under the desk.
Cool.
And I'm in the bath.
Okay. So you begin to run a bath. Dice, where are you going?
I am literally going to try and get the lay of the land and continue my map, including some of Londinium, so that I can expand my knowledge of the area and the world in general, because I don't know enough about it. I'm not going to do anything exciting. I'm walking around drawing lines. In my head,
Okay.
I can draw them on a map later.
How long do you want to spend doing that?
I'm really angry.
Ace is also following you.
And not, you are, it's not
I'm
like
not
Ace,
stealthing.
No, she's not,
No.
they're not
I'm
stealthily
not
following you.
offended by Ace coming with me. That's fine. I honestly just wanted to get out for a little while where I wasn't feeling like I was being told what I could and couldn't do. So I just want to go and walk around and learn a little bit about Londinium. I'm not planning to get in any trouble or talk to anyone. I have no reason to. I am just going to work out what Londinium looks like. I've never been here. I'm interested.
And for about an hour then?
I'm gonna, when we're setting off, I'm gonna sort of sidle up to Dice and just say, keep your arms covered if you can with your cloak.
Of course I will. My cloak, I've got my arms tucked inside anyway. I just want to not be told what I can and can't do.
I understand.
Just because I'm human, I can't be treated as a slave if I'm not a slave. Telling me I couldn't leave really pissed me off.
Yeah.
Not fair.
So you're going to go for about
Doesn't
2
feel
hours?
Yeah.
Okay. Roll me 3 investigation checks with advantage, because that's all you are doing.
So the first investigation check is going to be a 17.
Okay.
I don't have enough dice to roll all 3 at once, so you're going to have to wait for me to roll each one individually. Sorry. The second one is...
You don't have enough dice to roll 3d20. Do you even play D&D?
I don't have 6 in my tray at the moment. Well, no, I do actually, but some of them have been mean to me recently.
Looks at desk sweating.
19 for the second one.
Okay.
And the third one is a natural 20-24.
Excellent. Okay.
I currently have 9 d20s on my desk. Those are the ones that are out for use
I
right now.
actually have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I actually have 10.
Oh, I forgot the ones that are actually in the tray.
In the 2 hours then you spend wandering around,
That's
you
second.
cover quite a distance. Not questioning, but just investigating from building fronts, through windows, down side streets, alleyways. You stay out of the darker areas, stay out of the rougher areas, but directly around you is a perfect mix of what life appears to be in Londinium. There are shops that are now closed, but seem to cater for the more affluent members of society, those who might find that they are the first shops that would sell something they need as soon as the more affluent people would step off the train in the station in Londinium. But there are also the cheaper taverns, brothels. There are a few general goods stores. There is, in fact, a smithy that appears to still be open.
That does the wrist cuffs.
As you're looking through the windows, you do see a few of them being produced. There is no one currently in there who is not working, so they seem to be produced en masse and sold later.
What race are the staff members?
There are. You can use an natural 20 for this, but it's going to stop you investigating a little bit more. No, it's fine, in the 2 hours. There are 3 orcs that seem to be doing a lot of the finer work. In the back, there is a very large humanoid, grey skin, almost like stone, and she appears to be in chains. She's bald apart from a shock of hair that appears to be tied back.
They weren't freed.
Long mohawk. But she is chained to the wall behind her and appears to be the one using most of the strength to hammer and shake the neck that is given to her.
I just take a mental note of where the shop is, but I don't enter or immediately react to it. I just take a note in my head. Because I promise not to do anything dangerous, and asking questions might be dangerous, so I don't.
Does Ace notice if they've got any posted opening hours?
Opening hours or prices?
There does not appear to be posted opening hours, and there's not a list of prices. You may probably have to ask.
I turn to Ace and go, is it reasonable to ask on behalf of our mistress what their opening hours are?
I think it might be best to return with them.
I'm happy with that. That's fine, guys. There was never intending to do anything dangerous. There is always this assumption that I'm going to run amok and open boxes and poke things.
Wonder where we would have got that idea.
There's no precedent for that.
Once. One fucking time.
Do you return to the hotel?
Yes.
In that 2 hours then, Oriana, what were you doing after your bath? You're muted.
Muted.
The bedroom door, does that lock?
Yes.
Yeah, I've gone to bed and locked Dice out.
Okay.
And I am like spread eagle on the bed, wings out, everything. Because I know she can pick locks. I ain't dumb. But fast asleep, face down on the bed.
Okay. Sepsis. Bath only took about half an hour. Oriana has been locked in a room next to you, next to the one you're in
Rage
for the last
sleeping.
2 hours. What has Sepsis been doing under the desk?
After Sepsis heard the door click locked rather, I think they got out from under the desk and went out into the town.
Okay. Before you do so, Sepsis, can you roll me a wisdom saving throw?
Ooh.
A 2. Okay. That's brilliant, because at the moment, Charlie's muted, but she laughed so hard, I can hear it.
Muted?
No, she just silent laughed.
Was that silent laughing?
Yeah.
Oh, she laughed. I heard her laugh.
Yeah.
I'm not muted.
At that moment, you were.
You didn't
were
come
for
through
some
through
reason
your mic.
muted.
Oh, but you heard me through
came
Greg.
Yeah, I couldn't hear you. The same thing just happened then when you laughed. I don't know if your mic protects us from.
It's because you're talking when I laugh, so it's prioritizing you.
I see.
Sorry. Anyway, Sepsis, as you step out into the open then from under the desk, intending fully on going into the town, you feel a tremor in your hand. And as you lift it to your face, it begins to shake uncontrollably. That tremor then travels up your arm into the rest of your body. If you could cold sweat, you would. you feel as peaky as you told the others earlier that you do. Almost ill. Worse physically than you have felt in a long, long time. Especially, apart from obviously when you got stabbed by that spear and lost 3 hit points, which is a very traumatic experience for
very traumatic.
you. But no, you feel very ill. And you lick your lips, they are dry. You are hungry. You crave something. And it is an uncomfortable feeling. That need for something that you cannot provide for yourself. It's an uncomfortable feeling and it stays with you. Do you
It's a brew. You're craving a brew.
Do you continue out into the night?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And on that note, then, before you actually walk out into the town, it is apparently brew time. I apologise. Run on about 10
Brew
minutes.
o'clock.
Brew o'clock. Yes, it's just gone 9. So we are going to take a quick 15-minute break.
And it's past brew time.
It'll be a regular length, 15 minutes,
yes,
probably.
Yeah.
Regular length, 15-minute break. However,
And it's gonna
while
be
this is
20.
happening, please visit Facebook. Search Heavyweight Gaming. You'll see, hopefully during this break now, AD will pop up the poster. For those who have joined us after I gave the announcement at the beginning, we're doing Heavyweight Gaming is putting together a 48-hour tabletop RPG and gaming charity stream. Travel to Facebook, or go to Facebook, click on the link, get involved. The causes are awesome. More information will pop up now in a moment during the break, though. Please give it a look. All right. But yeah, join us again in 15 minutes. See you in a bit.
Bye.
Hello and welcome back to part 2 of episode 32 of the Chronicles of Nidum. I hope during your break you spent that time usefully and amazingly by visiting the links provided and jumping off Heavyweight Gaming and learning more about the 48-hour stream that we're all going to take part in at the end of August. If not, do so now. Ignore the rest of this stream and jump on Facebook right now. It's that important. We'll wait. No, we won't. But please, if you get the chance,
Like concerned there,
I know. Jump on and check it out. It's going to be a lot of fun, and it's for 3 really good courses. But anyway, part 2, where we left off, Sepsis had just left the room. Sepsis, where are you going?
That is a good question. I am going to look for somewhere. I'm going to try and head towards a sort of poorer part of town, I think.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Are you going as Munin? Hang on, Hugin or Munin? Which one are you?
Yeah. I'm Hugin.
Hugin. Where are you going as Hugin?
No.
You going as Sepsis?
No.
Okay, who are you going as?
Just a random goblin, sort of tradesman-looking guy. Goblin.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, we see goblins, right?
Yeah, see goblins all the time.
Yep, goblin tradesman.
Okay. Roll me a investigation check then.
21, I believe.
21. Okay. You come out of the hotel and immediately head off in the direction that you remember those 2 street urchins who tried to mug you earlier walking. Figuring that.
Oh, I should mention I've left my money in the hotel.
Okay.
Speaking
But you figured though that any direction they were heading, it was probably at that stage in the fear they were in, a safe place for them, therefore probably a more rundown part of the city. It takes you maybe half an hour of walking then, just trying to seem nonchalant, like you belong there, like you're not out of place, until eventually you see less humans in the surrounding area, or less well-dressed humans. Those you do see are cowed, dressed in rags. They look jumpy, skittish, always looking over their shoulder, and they're surrounded by denizens as well of other races who look much more rough and ready. They're a lot less light, because as you progress through the town and the sun has finally dipped over the horizon and the sky is darkened, in the area of the town the hotel was, there are, or appear to be, lamps at regular intervals that just sprang into life. And the flames inside them ranged from the normal yellow shining the pale white light to reds and sometimes blues and whites. So you can ascertain the flames are probably of a magical nature, a low level continuous spell, not too tricky. But the area you're in now, even the lamps you can see are broken. They've been broken for a long time. There's no glass on the floor around them. The glass that's left in them from your vantage point looks like it's been worn smooth at the edges by the weather. They've been broken for a while, and no one has appeared to have attempted to fix them. There are a lot less people in the streets now in the area you've walked into, and it seems to be mainly taverns. Lower buildings, maybe 3 to 4 stories tall at the most. You can see over the tops of them then the higher buildings blocking out the horizon. But you are in the roughest part of the town you're going to find in half an hour.
Okay, I'm looking for shops that are still open. Any kind of shop that is still open.
Every storefront and tavern front you can see in front of you has a light in it. All of them are still open. There are still people doing their shopping. And as you look around the kind of area you're in, these people tend to be the kind of shops that are open 24 hours just because they need to cater to the kind of people who might turn up at any hour of the day.
Okay. I'm gonna bamf Worm to me.
Okay. So Worm then appears. You feel the comfortable weight of Worm on your shoulder. Still invisible.
And I'm going to walk for a little while until I find a shop that is. I'm walking slowly, looking for a shop that I don't see anyone inside, and I don't see anyone go in and out for a little while.
Okay. Walking slowly then up and down the same street for a moment, there is one shop in particular that does catch your eye. As you're looking around, you haven't seen anyone walking or out of it for a long time. And as you look inside the shop, you can't see anyone attending it. There's a desk in the back. It's quite dark, but with your eyes, easy enough to see. Roll me a perception check. For you and Worm, you can do 2 if you want to.
Yeah, that's a 10 for Worm.
And for you?
2.
A 2. Okay. You can't hear anyone inside the shop either.
Okay.
It appears to be a general goods store. However, there are certainly some herbs and mushrooms hanging in bushels drying from the ceiling that would not normally be found in a general goods store.
Before I enter the shop, I'm going to apply the Basilisk Venom Blade Oil
Okay.
to one of my daggers.
All right.
And then I'm going to head inside.
You walk inside then. The shop is effectively 2 rooms. The front and the back room of a long building. The shop itself is maybe only about 20 feet wide, but the first room you're in, which is where all the goods are, appears to be maybe about 40 to 50 feet long. There is then a desk in the wall, like a window in the wall. The room behind it has a low light in it, and you still can't see anyone, but you imagine...
Is there an obvious mechanism for locking the door?
The front door of the shop?
Mm-hmm.
Well, as you step into it and then turn around, the key appears to be in the back of the door.
Okay, I will lock it, and if there's a open-closed sign, I'll turn it around to closed.
Okay.
I'll call out. Hello?
At first, you think you hear your echo reverberate back from the back of the building as you hear a hello.
Oh,
and
good.
You can hear a soft, slow thud, thud, thud. But each thud is preceded by a very silent, very, very quiet wooden tap. And the door below the desk kind of opens.
Before they appear, I'm going to start cradling my arm as if it's hurt.
Okay. And then out from under the desk, from this new door that's opened, you see a small, wizened old goblin woman. Ancient goblin woman, maybe 25. And she kind of stands there, completely milky white eyes, no pupils, no iris, and the soft wooden tap you heard was a cane that she's holding out in front of her as she kind of looks with her ears. Hello?
Hello,
Who's there?
my name is Rodkin, and I was pushed over by some ruffians outside, and I think I've hurt my arm. Do you have anything to help?
Of course, dear. And she kind of sniffs the air. You have brimstone about you. You a tiefling?
And no, I'm not. I think one of the ruffians may have been, though the smell may have rubbed off.
Ah! Roll a deception check.
20.
I believe I have a salve or two. Come this way. And she walks off into the corner and takes out a pestle and mortar and starts to. She doesn't even cock her head, but where she is, she kind of taps her hand across a shelf and then grabs one bushel, goes two over, gives it a feel, and then puts a little bit in. And starts grinding it together. She does so with a few other herbs, mushrooms, until you can see a paste forming in the bottom of the pestle.
This is gonna be fucking unpleasant. I am going to cast Detect Thoughts.
Okay.
And as soon as I have cast it, I am going to walk up behind her and attack with the dagger.
Okay. As you approach her then, do you want to try and get advantage to hit her?
Yes, preferably if I
Roll
can.
for stealth then, please.
18.
Okay. Okay. So as you approach behind her, she goes, I can't hear you, dearie. Are you still there?
I'm going to say, I'm here, and then stab.
Roll to hit with advantage, please.
That is 15.
15.
Yeah.
15 hits. Roll for damage.
Damage. That's 2 damage for the dagger itself, and then 2d8. Where can I find any d8s? I have so many dice. And then only 4 damage for the poison.
What was the other effect of the poison, though?
The other effect is that she needs to make a con save.
What's your...
It's DC 16 for this one.
Yeah, she fails.
She is paralyzed for 1 minute with no further save.
Okay. So, you hear the breath begin to build as the dagger sinks into her back, and she tries to scream, but her vocal cords seize up her lungs as well, and she cannot force the breath out to make a sound, and you feel her body go rigid on the end of your dagger.
Okay.
What you can detect from her thoughts is immediately fear, anger. There is darkness. You can almost see pictures of shadowy shapes that exist as kind of slightly darker silhouettes against the dark grey everything. And they take on fantastical shapes, all of which are terrifying. As she tries to work out which one of her fears has finally found her. And you can sense incredible pain. And also that she hasn't got long left on this earth.
Yeah, I'll take a finger first. And having done that, then I'll use a Eldritch Blast, I think. No, I won't. Chill Touch.
So you use your dagger on her paralyzed form to cut off a finger.
Yep.
Simple enough. I'm not going to make you roll for it. You practiced at this now. And yes, please roll to hit with hit chill touch. Advantage because obviously she is incapacitated.
24.
Roll for damage.
Why have all my D8s deserted me? They don't want to be a part of this. That's 6 damage.
6 damage.
Yeah.
You feel the chilling energy leave your hand. There is a puff of what, just cold, dark smoke that kind of expands from beneath your palm as it touches her form. And you feel her paralyzed form go even more rigid, as if her entire being is being frozen beneath your hand. And you see the last of her breath puff out of her, as if on a frozen day. You can see the vapor of her breath leave her body, and she falls over sideways and is dead.
I will use prestidigitation to clean the blood off myself and leave the shop very, very quickly.
Okay. You leave the shop. Do you lock it from the outside?
Yeah, I will take the key out of the door and lock it from the outside.
Okay. Do you leave the key in the door or take it with you?
I will bring it with me for some distance and then chuck it into an alley when I think no one's looking.
Roll a perception check.
Worm as well?
If you want.
16.
Okay. There doesn't appear to be anyone currently looking in your general direction at the moment. You are maybe 2 blocks away.
Okay, yeah, I'll throw the key into any sort of hidden place I can find.
Okay. You find an alleyway that's full enough of rubbish and piles of crap thrown out of windows from bedpans that you feel that this key is going to be well and truly hidden from all but the most resilient and disease-resistant of people. You toss the key and you carry on straight back to the hotel?
Yes.
So you go back to the hotel. You do, in fact, then arrive at the hotel maybe 20 minutes before Dice and Ace come back.
Okay.
Do you go back under the desk?
Yeah, I go back under the desk.
Okay. 20 minutes later, then you hear the door open, and Dice and Ace walk back in.
I don't even try Ariana's door. I walk straight into the servants' quarters and turn to Ace and go, top or bottom?
I know the answer to that.
You're muted. You're muted, love.
Your choice.
Do you know what? Your armor takes a lot more taking off. I'll take the top. And I wander up, but I'm not going to go to sleep straight away. I know it's really late and I might be suffering for it. I'm going to take out my bag, take out like drawing supplies and paper, and I'm going to try and recreate what I know of London, marking off the shops I've seen, things like that, for as long as it takes me.
Okay. Roll an intelligence check, but add your proficiency bonus.
Oh, as it's dark, I've got 2 little light balls sitting next to me. Intelligence check with proficiency modifier, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Give me a nice roll. Oh, that's lovely.
Plus 7 to your roll.
Anything I add proficiency bonus to is actually doubled.
Okay then, so yeah, this plus 10.
28.
28, okay.
Yeah.
You are a maestro when it comes to map making, apparently now. And
Yeah.
after maybe 20 minutes, you have an incredibly detailed, in fact, working map of the local area around the train station. With particular attention paid to train station, hotel, streets, and alleyways where the blacksmith is, and the relatively other shops that you've seen as well.
Yeah, none of the shady bits for now, but that's it. I'm just going to roll it up, put it back in the bag of holding, and attempt to go to sleep. But I'm still really mad, so I don't know how quickly I get to sleep.
When I've heard the door close and everything goes quiet in the other two rooms, I'm going to take out the alchemy kit and just preserve the finger that I got today.
Again, you've got the right liquids and preservatives ready. It's easy. I'm not even going to make you roll for it. You pop it into a vial. You now have 3 fingers? 4. You now have 4 fingers. In the process of putting the finger into the vial, you stop and take a moment and notice your hand. And it is as still as it has ever been. There is no shaking, no tremor. And you feel sated and comfortable for now.
I regret this character so much.
I am not comfortable.
It didn't have to be a little old blind lady, Rich.
You know how much you like to fuck with. You look what he did to Worm.
He takes such pride in making lovable characters and then making them die.
The problem is it doesn't fuck with sepsis at all. It only fucks with me.
I apologize. It's because I'm so old. I relate to old characters so much.
This all comes from I've been razzing Brian about being 1,000,000 years old for a couple of weeks, and now he's decided to make me suffer because of it.
Anyway, so
there was no way out of it.
The night passes easily, comfortably. It's one of the most comfortable and safest nights all of you have had in a very long time. Even the servants' beds are plush. You didn't even sleep this well in Nidum, and it is incredibly hard to rouse yourself in the morning. However, you are roused by the smells of cooking, bacon, eggs, sausages, breads, as if a bakery is opened outside the window of your room. This is especially prevalent to you, Sepsis, as you wake and feel as if you are waking in a miasma of breakfast foods.
I wake up and come out into the main part of the room.
The table under which Sepsis has made his home, when you've put the tablecloth over, their table, their home.
No, their home.
Their home.
Their table.
Their table now.
Their table, sorry.
This is table now.
This table's coming with us to the Underdark.
Is covered in food. Freshly made breakfast is covering the table that Sepsis has made their home under.
When I hear the door go, I just go, Ariana?
I'm already out. Yeah.
Why does the room smell so very bad?
It's breakfast. If you can't really smell it that much in the bedroom if you want to go in there.
No, I'm awake now.
There's mushrooms. Do you want some mushrooms?
Have they cooked the mushrooms?
Yeah.
Why do people do that?
Because they go juicy.
You're not selling it.
Ace is going to emerge from the servants' quarters and sort of stretch into the room.
I went to bed pretty late. Am I awake or am I still asleep?
Yeah.
Okay, then I'll wander out as well.
The map only took you like half an hour.
I'll wander out too, and I'll put the key next to breakfast and just go and stand sort of towards the corner, not really saying anything.
Just stand in the corner, pretending I don't exist.
Ace is going to
I'm eating
be
breakfast.
feeling very tense as they're collecting breakfast.
I pour Ace a cup of coffee and have one myself, and I'm just sat there eating breakfast and reading. Like, is there like a morning newspaper or something?
There is not. There are the rules of the hotel.
Yeah,
They're
I read
quite
that.
short, but you can pretend to
Yeah.
forcibly read that
Just
for as
reading
long
that.
as you like.
Ace is fully Griffin McElroy right now. I am very uncomfortable with the energy we've created in this hotel room today.
Yes.
I wander over and say to Ace, so we found the place where we can get the cuffs. So that would be a good port of call as early as possible before we go down into the Underdark.
I'd agree. Oriana?
Yeah, that was the plan anyway, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. We found a good place last night, we think.
Well, make sure you eat.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not hungry, and I walk away.
You don't need an insight check to see that.
Yeah, I'm inciting that, checking that.
No, we don't need an insight check to see when Oriana says, make sure you eat enough. She's not just talking to Ace.
Hmm.
You can insight check it. I'm not hungry.
Fine.
Okay, so...
Yeah, no, as Ace Dice says that, and walks away, Oriana just sort of says under her breath, then starve. And carries on eating.
All right,
Ace is
beast.
tactfully putting like bacons and like drier foodstuffs into like a little pack on their lap, just so that they can store it away for later.
Oriana's been doing that as well.
Oh, guys, I noticed nothing. I am staring out of a window.
Ignoring us all.
Free food! Free food!
Sebs is 100%
I mean, it's not free,
picked
we
up
paid
on
for
any
it.
of this.
No, Sepsis hasn't noticed at all that there's any tension in the room at all.
No,
No, okay.
I don't suspect they have.
Pop my head under the table, like, Sepsis, you gonna be ready to go soon?
I am sitting in a different part of the room, and I say from over there, I'm ready to go now.
You're so creepy. I love it, but it's frightening.
He's your husband.
You thought I was gonna stay under the desk the entire day?
I mean,
You do sometimes.
I'm not even gonna
That
pretend
one-
to understand you now.
That desk smells very bad.
Oh, how are you feeling?
Oh, somewhat better.
Well, maybe it was just a good night's rest is all you needed.
I think that's it.
On something that wasn't moving. Right, well, let's go get your bracelets and then head to the Underdark.
Our new accessories.
And I become a half-orc.
I will become Hugin.
I'll don my hat and become my blonde human.
I thought you were doing a fedora thing then. Oh, milady.
I just put my hood up as previous.
Still with your lovely copper locks.
Yeah, but they're tied back and they're under the hood, so you can't really see them. And no one cares what I look like anyway, because I'm human. So it's okay.
Yeah, I don't use up any energy using the hat, so I just.
Yeah, you're all
Yeah.
fine
with
now. Just me.
You got full juice.
Mm-hmm.
So
Oh,
not
I should probably
entirely-
take that long rest because I used a spell.
Yes. So not
Well, point
entirely remembering. Yeah.
I just want to point out that Oriana washes the underwear every night.
Okay.
Thanks for the note.
I didn't have the idea of
I didn't
just
query it, but
You
okay.
never took it off.
No, I was a tiefling in bed. I took them off and I washed them. They were drying overnight.
Okay.
Is this the magic underwear?
Yes.
Okay.
This is
I
the
was very
underwear that makes
confused
me
for a
look like a
second there.
half-orc.
So you very quickly remember that once you get to this blacksmith, you didn't actually write down out of character where you were supposed to be going. So just before you leave the room, you check the tickets and the contract given to you by the Elven Ranger in the wilderness, which has brought you to Londinium, because you've still got it on you. And remember that you are traveling to the Hall of Light to link up with the Kingdom's Adventuring Service to sign on to the expedition into the Underdark.
Cool. Shall we ask in reception where this Hall of Light is?
Hall of White.
I
Oh, I
said
heard
what I
Hall
said.
of Light.
It's Whitehall.
I said what I said.
Yeah, sure. Ask reception. I think I caused too much attention to US this time.
I'll ask. Is there like a lift attendant again?
As you approach the lift, it does open. There is a very tired-looking young human boy standing there, and he snaps to attention, still staring at the floor. It's quite strange. Quite a strange juxtaposition, just to look at him, snap to attention, but not lift his head at all. And he bows as you enter the lift, and then just asks, "Going downstairs?"
Yes, we are. Oh, what ho, young human? Do you know where Jack Whitehall lives?
Hall of White.
I don't know Jack Whitehall.
Do you know where the Hall of White is? I meant.
Yes, of course. It's that great marble building to the north, centre of the city, just outside the spires.
How far would you say?
You get there in maybe about an hour. They can provide a very simple map at reception, sir, if you wish.
I assume
Very
I didn't
good.
get that far, Rich.
No, you didn't get that far.
No, fine. Did I see any signs or anything pointing in the direction of the Hall of White? Well, we were such fantastic rolls.
Roll me an intelligence check to read Elvish.
All right, 14.
Nope.
Cool.
So he down to reception, then says yes.
Yes, please.
Then he makes a motion on the panel by the wall, and it does, again, the buzzing sound that only Oriana, Sepsis, and Dice can hear begins, and you descend a few floors.
Can I roll a check against what I think that is? I want to know what the buzzing is.
Roll an Arcana check.
Thanks. Oh, all my rolls have gone to shit. Doo-da, doo-da.
While you're doing that, Asharadel, I failed miserably this year in my promise this week to do a catch-up video for the first 31 episodes. I am doing it. I'm currently writing the script for it to try and condense it into 10 minutes. Quite difficult, but I will do it. And if you don't want to troll through the first 31 episodes on our YouTube channel, please wait for that. However, go over to YouTube, check them out, give us a follow.
16.
16, thank you. Okay, so you feel the buzzing, and when you concentrate on it, you can feel there is a low-level magical aura that surrounds the entire room you're currently standing in.
Okay.
And it winks into life when the motion is made on the panel. And as you're concentrating on it, the aura almost completely disappears as soon as it stops.
Okay, thank you.
It is familiar to you, probably akin to maybe a levitation spell.
Okay, interesting. That seems horrendously dangerous. That's cool. Thank you. Just waiting for it to fail and the lift to drop.
Okay. The reception, as Oriana checks out her watch, because it's only about 7 o'clock in the morning, early breakfast in this hotel.
Standard.
You do notice then that the reception is pretty much empty. The 5 receptionists are still standing there, but there's no one there. There are no guests checking in or checking out. They're all smiling that horrible, sickly, forced smile at you when you arrive. Sepsis?
Yes, I'll go. I will wander over to the reception and what ho! The Hall of White. We need a map or some sort of directions, if you would be so kind and good.
Very good, sir. The directions are free. The map is at counted cost.
What would the cost be?
Simple or embellished?
Very, very simple. I only need to use it the one time.
Very well, I go.
Very well. I didn't expect an establishment like this would nickel and dime a person over such trifles. I slide a gold
apologise
across.
for that, sir. Thank you very much. Will you be checking out now?
Indeed.
Then I thank you very much for your patronage, and I hope you enjoyed your stay.
It was adequate.
Then please also take one of these, and she passes across a very tough, solid piece of parchment. And it's got a few questions written on there in Elvish, and as you flip it over, it's got them written in common. And it's a guest suggestion questionnaire card. Please, any thoughts you have on how we can improve your next stay, don't hesitate to jot them down and place them in the box before you leave.
Please let me fill that in.
I pass it to Ariana.
Fill it in.
Um,
On the Elvish side.
Okay.
Is there questions?
It's basically ranking comfort, service, and then comments, a section with a few lines to leave some comments.
I just write on the comments a later breakfast and then a bigger bath.
Even though the bath in the bathroom that you found was the size of your bed.
Yeah, I just write bigger bath.
Okay.
And I pop it in the box.
Okay. And you walk out into the street. Yeah.
Well, if we've got the map, yes.
You've got the map.
Okay. Are there
Where to first? The Smith or the Hall of White?
there seemed to be some rush about getting on this expedition, from what I remember. Do we have any?
We need to get signed on for it. I don't think it's leaving right away, but
Well, the impression we got back outside Bathe was that if we missed that train, we would miss the whole expedition.
My lord Hugan, the cats that you are questioning are actually pre-made, and I think pre-enchanted. It is simply a matter of purchasing what you are looking for, rather than having them constructed to spec.
I show Dice the map and say, how far out of our way would the Smith be?
How far out of our way would the Smith be, Bri?
It's in the same general direction, but it takes you off. If you were to travel north, it takes you off on a kind of left. It takes you off on a kind of left, like side route detour. But it wouldn't take too long to get back on track. It's going to maybe take you about 10 minutes anyway.
It wouldn't take long. Look, and I show Hugan the map of Londinium and show where it is. And
Yours is in fact much more elaborate and to scale than the map that Sepsis has been given.
Yeah, it's just here and there. Okay.
It seems sensible to go to the Smith on the way then.
I agree.
In fact, looking at the map that Sepsis has been given and looking at yours, you could probably make quite a nice little side venture in map making. If the hotels are making people pay gold for that one.
Yeah. If only I could sell them.
I could sell them, potentially.
Perhaps when we stay in one place for more than a few days, huh?
I'm starting to wonder if we ever will.
If we don't, then there's not much point making a map.
This is true. And I guess we start making our way to the blacksmith.
It takes maybe 20 minutes then to get to the blacksmith. It's very early. Most of the shops you pass in this district are closed, not open. You can see tables being put out by the early morning staff of certain taverns, restaurants on the streets outside. You can see little awnings being pulled magically from the front of buildings. They just kind of shift out slowly. It is strange. It's the first place you've seen where magic in Cardiff seem to be... Cardiff seem to be relegated to just like the upper echelons of society. In Londinium, no humans, but you do see just random people on the street using just the most basic of magic as an afterthought. Just kind of like you can see someone and they're walking along the street and they have a long flowing gown that seems to be dragging mud behind them and getting dirtier and dirtier. But every few steps they take, you can see them just nonchalantly kind of waving their hand behind them and the mud just disappears. The cloak is clean.
Can I make some sort of check to determine if I think that that's because of the much higher concentration of the green crystal? Increasing their sort of ability and the speed with which they can cast. Can I roll against that?
Roll an Arcana check for me.
All right. That is going to be... I'm tired. 23.
Good.
That's hard.
As you look around you then and try and determine a way to make this connection, you see on the rest of the streets, the crystal is non-existent. You can't really see it anywhere else. And that sickly feeling you got entering the station, it's almost non-existent. It's the faintest thing in the world. So it's not prevalent in the streets that you're walking through. It still exists. You feel an almost northern direction to the pole, but it's nowhere nearby. So
a charging effect?
Not necessarily. It doesn't feel like it could be connected. It seems to be that it's more accepted in the inner city. But it also seems to be more prevalent in just everything, like architecture. As you're walking, you didn't see it the night before because it was quite dark, but as you're walking, you're looking at the upper parts of certain buildings, and there's one entire building that seems to have a garden growing up and over the top floor of the building. But it also has a roof to it. But the roof appears, at least from where you're sitting, to be floating above the upper floor. There's nothing supporting the roof, covering the garden. It just seems like magic is...
I assume there's still no humans doing magic.
Not that you can tell, but it seems like the technology this city, if not the empire, runs on, is magically based.
Okay. Thank you.
As you walk then, you get to the smithy. It seems to be the only shop, place of business that is unchanged from the night before. You hear from quite a way down the street the hammering of hammer on liquid metal on the anvil, in that rhythm, exactly the same as it was the night before. And as you get there, what appears to be the same three large half-to orcs standing there, moving the completed cuffs, moving heated metal back to the back of the smithy, where you can still see the same chained 7-foot-tall, muscly, grey-skinned woman standing there, not even sweating in the heat. But every single time a piece of heated metal is put down in front of them, they just start hammering again rhythmically. They don't even look tired. But you can't tell. You can tell just by looking at them, that this place has not closed overnight.
Do I know what race she is?
Roll me a nature check, please.
Can I roll that too?
If you want.
Thanks. Having seen her twice, well, that's not going to be. I don't know.
17?
9.
9, 17. Okay. Ace?
Yeah.
Your father told you about this woman, their people, being effectively great warriors, but also incredibly skilled craftsmen, smiths. The only ones, apart from the dwarves, who can be held in such high esteem, in fact. Though much rarer than the dwarves of old, they appeared to learn most of their skills and trade from their giant ancestors, and seemed to be the bridge between the smaller humanoid races and the larger children of the gods, the giants themselves. What she appears to be is a Goliath. Though you've never seen one yourself. There's never been one, there was never one in Nidum, and you've never seen one in Kimra.
She's what I'd expect one to look like, I guess.
She's exactly what you'd expect one to look like. Female of the species having little hair. You know that the males of the species would normally have no hair at all, not even a beard. The female of the species, then you can see this time the mohawk that you saw was tied back last time. A lot of it has come loose, but instead of falling down then in kind of sweaty fashion down her face, the bits that have come loose seem to have like poofed up, so it now seems like her mohawk stands straight up, like a brush.
Okay.
I suppose I'll enter first.
Okay. So you walk in, one of the orcs who's handling and cooling the finished cuffs before putting them into the nearby neatly stacked pile, kind of looks at you, puts down his tongs, picks up a rag, and as he wipes his hands with the rag glows slightly. It's a very faint glow, but you do notice then that as the rag is put back down, all evidence of any oil, ash, dirt from being in the smith 24 hours a day is completely gone from his elbow down. And he holds out his hand to shake yours.
I do not shake his hand.
Very sorry, sir. All very well and good.
Sorry,
you do not have to shake hands with me.
Sorry, I don't like to be touched.
I understand some people do not like to be touched. Some people don't believe the prestidigitation actually gets rid of the dirt and it actually just hides it instead. I completely understand, sir. How can I help?
I obtained these two, and I gesture with my head towards Ace and Dice, recently from a merchant who had them from Kemria.
Collared, yeah.
Yes.
Let's have a look. I'll know your arms. You two, arms.
Yeah.
Looks on. Alright. Skinny. Muscly. We've got a couple of them.
Okay. We're interested in some of the augmentations I believe are available. These two, they have some skill at arms, and they're slightly advanced meat shields, if you take my meaning.
Useful then. We've got the standard excruciating pain.
It's
not that much more to add on the death bit.
I light up my hands with an Eldritch Blasty kind of hue and say, I don't believe that I will be needing that.
Well, the standard comes with excruciating pain anyway. It's just part of the manufacturing process. Can't get rid of it.
I see. I'm interested in whether there is an augmentation that allows me to communicate with them from a distance.
What kind of distance are we talking about?
What kind of distance can you facilitate?
Well, there's a couple of different, I suppose, spells we can infuse in there. Line of sight, but don't want to line of sight, but don't want to shout. Simple.
Mm-hmm.
Anywhere in the world, not so simple.
What about somewhere in between?
What, like anywhere on this continent?
Or within, say, 500 feet?
It's very swings and roundabouts. You can communicate if you can see them or know where they are in relative to where you are, or anywhere.
What are we looking at price-wise for the anywhere ones?
Well, it's not something that we normally infuse in cuffs, you see. Because, normally if they're that far away, they're dead. Tell you what, I've got a friend. If you don't need it on the cuff, they've probably got something smaller that you can just carry around if you trust them with it.
Mm-hmm.
And they do pairs.
Doesn't need to
normally for like people to chat, but
do you know how much they would be looking for these wondrous artifacts?
you're probably looking at about 400 a pair.
That's what I thought.
With the cuffs, I can do you 10 for a pair of standards.
What augmentations do you offer?
We've got location, just in case they run away and you want to find them before you kill them. We've got, what was there? There's excruciating pain, death, location, warning. We did have stealth, but that's gone. Ran out of ingredients.
Do you have anything that can make them harder to hit? They're a little bit of an investment. I wouldn't mind protecting it slightly.
Well, looking at the armor on that one, no, because it's either armor or cuff.
Right.
Unfortunately, something about the spell. If you're wearing armor, the cuffs don't work.
I understand you.
If you take the armor off, the cuff works, but it's not as good as the armor.
You've explained it quite adequately.
Thank you for saying so.
It seems like an opportunity to get something a little more interesting. So, outside of excruciating pain, death, warning, and location, anything else?
Well, we can't do them, but if you ever get to the continent, there's a teleportation upgrade.
That one would be interesting.
You can immediately teleport them to you.
Yes.
Once. Ever.
Well.
There is a chance they might die.
Isn't there always?
No, their arm will chance to literally explode.
Well, it happens.
It's not we've tested it on a couple of humans. It's not 100%, but we don't miss them.
No, indeed. We will take a pair of your finest standards, please.
All right. And he pulls out ones relatively the size of Dice's and Ace's forearms. Do you want me to fix them? Fit them?
Yes.
All right.
1 second. Just
sorry.
Before you do it.
Yeah.
Is there any way that these could be fitted with some sort of mechanism that makes them easier than the average to take off?
Why?
This is very hush-hush, and if I hear that you've spoken to it of anyone, I will have to have you executed. You understand? But we have used... The reason that we had to purchase new humans is because the last ones we had to use in infiltrating an underground society of... society is obviously a strong term, you understand, with humans, but an underground organization of some sort. And they were discovered, and the reason that they were discovered is because they could not remove their collars where all of the others in that organization could. So if there's any way, if there's a chance that we may end up doing the same sort of work for the same sort of very secretive people, this might be necessary.
Roll a deception check.
Not that die. That die's been a bitch today. 24.
It's like asking Cake to roll stealth, and there comes a point where you just, why bother? Right, okay, so he nods and goes, well, you might want to come here. And he walks to the back of the shop away from Ace and Dice.
Mm-hmm.
Do you follow?
I do.
I didn't want to say this around your servants, just in case they get ideas above their station, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's a little known fact that, look, and he takes a crystal out of his pocket, and he's still holding the cuffs he was going to fix to Ace and Dice. This is how to activate it, right? And he brushes the crystal over the two crystals that are embedded in the braces. And you can see them begin to glow. And immediately you hear two snaps of locks turning. And he turns the braces over in his large hand, and they're both closed.
Mm-hmm.
He turns it back over. Didn't want to show you in front of them, but he swipes the crystal back down opposite to how they were activated, and they open again.
And the cups will come with these crystals?
This is for you. This is so if you squeeze this crystal, the harder you squeeze it, the more pain they feel.
Understood.
But this is your control crystal.
Mm-hmm. So the cuffs can be removed using this crystal?
Yeah, by you.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Okay. That will be adequate.
Did you need more than one?
More than one control crystal?
Well, I see you've got your concubine over there. quite an attractive bit of stuff, if I'm most so.
I look back at Oriana and I laugh.
Do I hear that?
No.
That is my business partner.
Oh, so she's available then?
I encourage you to shoot your shot, sir.
All right. You staying in Londinium long?
We are not.
Oh.
I believe we will be leaving today.
No.
Thank you for explaining. This will do very nicely.
That's all right. Please, inspect your wares.
Yes, by the way, I do require a second one from my business partner.
Oh, I can do that. Hang on. And he just rubs the two control crystals together, and they glow, and he just hands them both to you.
Do they make a noise like those magnets that you had when
they make a noise exactly like shh. They make a horrible, scratchy but slippery noise that those magnets used to make.
Sorry, I had to interrupt for that.
If we have to engage in one of these missions of subterfuge, and I have to send these humans into such a den, will carrying these crystals make them very ill? I understand that the crystals have been known to do that.
No. These have been treated.
Because they've been refined, okay.
You've not travelled much in the Empire then, no?
No, no.
A lot of time in Kimbra. Right. These have been refined
after being mined. The refining process, when they're not just natural.
Is not interesting to me.
Sorry. All we're saying is, the magical properties they can then exhibit are decided upon during the refinement process. So, these are for activation control, others are for construction, others are for something else. I know about the activation ones, I've got to use them. I know about construction, my brother's in the trade.
I yawn so widely that my jaw cracks.
Sorry, I do tend to go on.
Yes, so it was 10 gold?
Yes.
Fantastic. And I pay the man 10 gold.
A pleasure.
Yes, I'm sure that it was.
Do you want to try them on and lock them up before you leave, just in case they're the wrong size?
Certainly.
You go and he just puts them on their wrists.
I do.
You swipe the control crystal over? Okay. They lock up. They are a little bit tight, a little bit restrictive, but he kind of tugs and tries to put his finger between the cuff and your skin and can't get his finger down there, and it does seem quite painful. And he goes, perfect fit.
Very nicely done.
Everyone roll a perception check.
Oh, crying out loud, 9.
Better than me, I got 5.
I got 11 for worm.
Bloody hell, guys.
Had to re-roll because I got another 17 on my orange dice, and I was like, that doesn't seem right. So, but I got an 18 on my other one, so that's 20.
Okay. I'll always say, yeah, if you want to reroll a high number, that's fine. I don't trust this natural 20. Cool.
No, it's done like 3 in a row now, so I'm just a bit sus.
It's all right. What did you get, Orisho?
5.
And Sepsis?
I got... Sepsis got 2, but worm got 11.
Okay. Ace then, as soon as the locking sound is heard throughout the smithy, only you notice, because you're so used to picking up on this anyway, because you're used to the long mornings, the long afternoons, just listening to your father repetitively hammer away at swords, shields, tools. You immediately pick up on, as soon as you are manhandled by the orc, the hammering by the Goliath falters. The rhythm skips a little bit. And you look up and you look past the orc and you see the Goliath woman. She's staring straight at you with sadness in her eyes. And then the sadness is gone. And she continues to hammer away. But you do also notice, as you're staring at her, and she tends to crack her neck, you notice a small leather thong around her neck, hanging from which is a small twisted piece of metal in the shape of a hand.
Let me see that song.
I want to be her friend.
Is that all, then, Seth?
Yes, that's all attended to. Come along, let's leave.
Pleasure doing business with you.
Yes, I'm sure it was.
I just walk out.
Same.
As you say bye and turn to walk away, he tries to catch your eye, Oriana, and goes, "Oi!"
Oi!
I stop dead and slowly turn to look at him.
And in Orcish, he says, "How you doing?"
How you doing?
I just give him a really disgusted look and then turn and walk out.
Thought so. And you leave.
Yeah.
He basically
straight to
did
the
the
wall
white
point?
van flirt.
You are.
He did the white van flirt.
Mm-hmm.
Rich, just one question. Before it was locked, would the bracer have stayed closed on its own without being locked in place?
No, before it was locked, the metal seemed weirdly fluid.
Right.
Like mercury that was caught between two sheets of plastic. It seemed incredibly weirdly fluid. As soon as the bracer, as soon as the mechanism was put in place and the crystal was swiped over it, it became solid.
Okay.
Like steel.
That's fine.
Ace is fascinated by that.
Once we're outside, I just reach within my cloak, take the collar and just slide it inside the cloak into my bag of holding.
Okay.
So I'm not wearing both anymore.
Yeah.
I walk over to Ace and take his off him.
Yeah.
I take the collar off.
Them. Yeah.
There's. Sorry, I am half asleep right now.
It's alright.
I take them off them, the collar off them, and shove it in the bag of holding as I walk past.
Mm-hmm.
You make your way to the Hall of Light.
Oh wait, 1 second. When we're outside and we've walked a little way away from the shop, I give the crystals to Ace and Dice, and explain how to use them to open the cuffs.
Thank you.
I say, under no circumstances get caught with these.
Thank you.
Do you also explain to them that don't squeeze them?
Hang on, Rich, I was about to ask.
Sorry.
About to ask. So these are also used to inflict pain, right? How do I avoid doing that? Because I don't want that.
Apparently, if you want to inflict pain, you have to squeeze it. So, I suppose don't squeeze it, but it's not. You don't have to thank me for it. I don't want them.
I take it very gingerly and I put it in the bag of holding, like.
Yeah. I'm gonna do the same with mine.
In the bag of holding.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, fine. Okay,
I'll pass it to you to put in.
Fine. Still, thank you.
No, I just have no interest in having that level of authority.
I'm kind of glad you don't have that level of authority over me. I don't like authority. So, the Hall of White, right?
Mm-hmm.
That away.
Mm-hmm.
Onward we go.
So, as you progress further north, it's quite an easy to traverse city. All the streets are quite straight. And
Oh, so it's not much like London then.
But it is easy to. It's hard to get lost. But that way, all the streets are quite wide and straight. If you travel north, there's only one direction you can go in. It's not gonna. There's no twists and turns to get you lost. Eventually, you get far enough that even the 5, 6, 7-story buildings in front of you no longer hide the spires behind them. You start to see the tops of the giant crystal spires of the buildings ahead. And off in the distance now, looming larger in front of you, seems to be a large temple-looking building, almost entirely white marble, shining. 4 spires dashing up into the sky, not made of crystal, apart from the one central spire then on this square building that travels higher than the 4, with a large kind of dome on top. The dome is made of crystal. But the building itself appears to be, and you do start, Oriana, seeing signs saying the Hall of Light. And it's in exactly the direction you're headed.
I just follow the signs.
As you get closer, then you realize that the buildings up ahead are not so much buildings as a functional wall around the Hall of Light. It seems to have shops and businesses built into the kind of low wall of a keep, with a large gate in the middle, which at the moment is open. And as you get closer, you do see a slow line of people, very few humans, walking up to the gate, and they're all being stopped. But there does seem to be a smaller, quicker moving line to one side. And you see people wandering up to the guards, flashing a piece of paper, and then wandering through.
We'll join that line.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Flash of the paper saying that we want to join the thing.
I take it those people look adventure-y.
They do. all different types of armor, builds, races. So as you walk up to the gate then, you do see as you get closer, just inside the gate, there are maybe 10 guards, all standing to attention. None of them have their weapons drawn. The one of them is looking quite apprehensively at the top of the wall. And as you look to the top of the wall, then following his sight, you notice that the top of the wall is not ringed by strange-looking stone figures. They're not gargoyles. The top of the wall is almost completely manned by slightly more stylized versions of the automaton that you saw in Briscoe.
Oof.
And there are maybe 30 of them currently visible, all exactly the same, with nothing but certain markings on the side of their head, hard to discern from where you are, but and all of them seem to be carrying strange, long metal poles, but they're not carrying them like a spear or a sword. They're cradling them like one would a baby.
They're going fishing.
And eventually you get to the front of the queue and the top of the wall is no longer in sight. The elven guard walks out. Hello, who are you?
Hugan and Munin, muscle for hire. We've been asked to report to this fine city and establishment in order to join an expedition into the underground to clear out something.
issue.
I didn't hear all of it. It was a while ago, and I produced the paper.
Ah, you're one of the ones the Rangers found. Oh,
Correct.
Wild one. Excellent. Okay. Yes, all appears to be in order. He doesn't even really look at the paper and just hands it back to you. I've seen a lot of these this morning. Please enter. Your commanding officer, if they choose you, is currently holding court in the middle of the courtyard with the rest of potentials who may go with you. Present yourself, and I don't know, I think he may have a test in store before he accepts you on the expedition, but good luck.
Thank you. I'm sure we won't need it.
And he allows you and your human servants through. You walk in. The courtyard itself is massive. It is only 50 feet deep between the wall and the steps at the bottom of the entrance to the Hall of White. However, on both left and right, then it travels out like 100 feet in each direction, and you can see large troops of these automatons. Some marching in perfect formation, most just standing there being inspected by an elf, polished by others, unmoving. They look like statues apart from the ones who were marching, and even they, only their legs are moving, the rest of them are eerily still. In front of you, just at the base of the stairs though, there are two elves in their prime, long, blonde or honey-coloured hair, stand there just on a raised dais in front of everyone. There's a large group of very different people. There's a small group of very scarred halflings that you recognize. You previously threw one across a bar. They are standing there at the front so they can see. There is a large group of orcs. There is a large group of Durga. There's a few goblins dotted about. There are a few other elves who do not seem to be associated with anyone or each other. And there are, attached to all of these groups, quite a few humans, slaves. The dwarves, in fact, have one humanoid being with them who is heavily cloaked. And you cannot really determine what race they are. But as you approach, the two elves kind of stand there. They notice with the younger of the two. Hello, welcome. I believe you will be joining us, or you hope to join us, on our expedition into the Underdark, a great adventure for the Empire.
That is correct. We yearn to serve the Empire and further her interests.
Excellent. Well, if there are not many more of you, then I don't believe the test will be needed. I think there's enough of you to be going on with. We don't need to disqualify anyone. What do you think, Master? And the older one kind of stands up and casts a discerning eye over everyone. It's enough, I suppose, for what we want to do. I would have preferred a bit more diversity. There are very few. Seems to be a bit of a cockfest, I'll be honest. And he now, as Oriana just kind of goes, what the fuck, just kind of looks at you in the background and goes, oh, hello there.
Hello there.
It's fucking Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Fucking Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Hello there. Yes, you do make up for the shortcomings of the rest of this troop. Very well. Before we can determine whether you're all to go, please present what you have to bring to the table. Bear in mind, before you make your declaration, that by the power of the Empire vested in me, all crimes... And he pulls up a crystal and it begins to glow as he speaks. All crimes disclosed in this meeting will be pardoned. Any laws that you are on the wrong side of currently with your actions or abilities will be pardoned. Everyone who goes into the Underdark goes in with a clean slate, and I do not speak for many others in the Empire. There are those who, but we are one of the greatest orders of knights in the Empire, and if you have committed a crime against the Empire that can be pardoned by going into the Underdark, then speak now.
What do you mean by that can be pardoned by going into the Underdark?
Can any of your servants do things they should not be able to?
That be pardoned?
Well, we need every advantage we can get down there.
Insight check.
I would like to join that too, please.
Yeah.
Oh, it's good.
Mine is also good.
Do you want to know what this boy is about?
Okay.
21.
But for me, that's like outstanding.
16.
16, 21.
One sec. Sorry, I had to double check. I thought it was -1. 18.
That's nice.
Okay. All of you think he's quite trustworthy. You don't want to push him, but disclosing a little bit of truth might not do you any harm.
I'm not so fond of that might.
Oh, I'm so tempted.
They may have.
The dwarves, while you're deliberating, Piper, the Duca. Will you guys have this, shall you? Because
I don't know about them, but the worst of it could be here.
I don't know what language that was.
Because this is quite useful, what we got. And they pull back the hood of the humanoid with them. Everyone, apart from you and the two elven knights standing on the dais in front of you, take a step back
On the dais.
with a sharp intake of breath. As you see a slight, lithe woman, dark red hair flowing all the way down her back. And as one of the dwarfs then brushes the hair back from the side of her face, you see a much smaller, but obviously elven ear shape. But unlike any elf you've seen so far, they are heavily freckled, with much paler but more a richer coloured skin.
What is she?
She be a half elf, is you?
Oh.
Is that not a crime? That can be pardoned by going under that. At least they're a crime anyway for harbouring her. And the Jedi at the top of the dais.
The Jedi!
The knight. Bollocks. The knight standing.
Kenobi.
The knight standing at the top of the dais looks down. If she has powers, she can come. But she's your responsibility, and if she tries to escape, if you do not catch her, then your lives are forfeit. Aye. Well, right as you.
Do the crimes have to be disclosed in order to be expunged?
Put it this way, if we go down there and you show something that you have not disclosed beforehand, then most of those crimes will be punishable by death. So yes.
I take a step forward, take my hood down, and show myself as human, and go, I have some abilities.
Who speaks for this one who speaks in front of me?
Me. I do. And I release disguise self.
Oh, you beat me to it, you bitch.
Okay. And you are a small bundle of rags. Well, a small cloak. Pile of cloak.
I will lower my hood.
Oh, bitch!
Okay.
Waiting for
Everyone loves Elin Olabesco.
Please describe your face.
I have no nose to speak of. I have sort of sickly yellow-green scaled skin and slitted eyes. And when I speak, it is obvious that there is a forked tongue.
Now that I've seen them, can I roll to know their race?
Me too.
Because
Absolutely.
Oriana's been trying to work it out for ages.
You absolutely can. However, it's going to be a nature check with disadvantage for all of you, because I can guarantee there is a very, very small chance any of you have heard of them.
16.
16.
I got a nat 20 on the other die. Just so.
I got a 12.
With a 16,
17. I counted wrong, but 17.
even with a 17, you don't know.
Oh well, at least we know what they
We're
look
all
like.
racking our brains like, what are they?
Even with a 17, you don't know.
Okay.
You can tell that they are reptilian, but racking your brains, you're absolutely certain you've never cured of this race.
I also want to say that I have dark hair that has started to grow in since basically it would have been shaved when we left.
Oh,
and
you got
has
a
been
pixie
growing
cut.
has been growing in since. So however long's worth of growth that is. It is very dark hair that would probably be quite lustrous if it was cared for at all.
If it's like 3 months, then it's about this long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Ariana looks at Sepsis and at Dice, just goes, "Ah, fuck it," and just sort of cracks her neck and then drops disguise self and like wings out everything. Like, it's gonna be obvious when someone hits me, so.
And Ace just takes off their hat.
Oh, we've been raided!
Ooh.
Ace takes off. So simple.
Yeah.
We are
We are wanted for crimes against the royal family.
Nice. Ori.
not
It was an accident.
not against the royal family.
No.
It's just that these two were seen doing the things that they can do in front of
Yeah.
a royal.
The younger of the two, as the older opens his mouth to speak, the younger of the two steps forward. You saved my patron's son.
Yes.
I don't
You
think
did.
I nod.
In the woods of Kimra.
Yeah.
Yes.
That may have been us.
Well, saved. You didn't know that the wolves belonged to him, but you acted out of
Protection.
altruistic intentions, I suppose.
We thought he was in
I
danger.
have heard of you.
It's nice to be
Most people have.
infamous.
What about the other crimes laying at your feet?
What other crimes?
Freeing all the slaves in town.
No idea what you're talking about.
The killing of the guard captain in Portal.
What?
Who?
That's nothing to do with us.
The killing of the sergeant in town.
No.
Doesn't ring a bell. It seems that we've been falsely accused. I think we maybe have been a scapegoat for some incompetence in the outer colonies.
Tell me, have you ever travelled through Briscoe?
I think we were there very briefly.
One night.
Roll a
Oh, yeah.
deception. Roll a persuasion or deception check.
I'll roll deception.
I assist you on that?
Yeah, you can do that. You can have advantage.
I was going to
Thank
say, we've all been sitting there going,
That's better. It's 20.
20's good.
I rolled a 9 followed by a 10.
Probably the most important deception check Sepsis has ever done.
Sepsis,
Hmm.
you feel a touch on your mind. Roll a wisdom saving throw.
Oh, I'm so good at
You're
these.
Mine.
With advantage.
Wow.
With advantage, you say.
Mhm.
This all got very dramatic, very
Thank
late.
you for the advantage, because that's an 18.
Okay. What are you thinking about? You feel this touch in your mind. What are you thinking about instantly?
I am mostly concerned that my traveling companions are going to abandon me and also possibly kill me now that they have seen me.
To be fair, that would be first on Sepsis's mind.
The younger knight on the dais turns to his older master and says, I believe him. I think it's worth the risk. The older one turns to him and says, you always think it's worth the risk. But very well, I will trust your judgment. You may come.
And if we survive this, we're free and no crime held against us.
We know the right people to speak to.
Okay, then we'll come.
Sounds like we need to make sure you make it through alive.
That would be preferable, yes. It's the reason we're taking you.
This is a big fucking deal. Sorry. I'm calm now.
I don't need my magic underwear anymore.
Keep the magic underwear. It looks good
I'm
on you.
keeping it, but
Oh, yeah, I just realised you dropped disguise self. The disguise self is your clothes.
yeah, no, I can still make just an outfit with it. I'm not stood there in a thong.
That would be so funny.
I would assume that unless you were in the bedchamber of someone you were actively planning on sleeping with, when you say the words, I drop disguise self,
It's
what
just
you
the
mean
physical.
is you turn back into regular
People.
Oriana
Yeah,
Regular Oriana
That's
wearing
clothes.
regular Oriana's clothes.
clothes, wearing the boob tube.
Clothes.
That,
So
That's
basically wearing slightly more than a thong and a bra.
my legs are completely covered.
Wow.
Okay.
Thanks.
so we're Princess Jasmine,
I
so
wear,
she's still a
I wear
thought.
trousers, boots. I have a sash around my waist, and yes, I wear a boob tube.
Hey, I think Ariana.
You don't wear a boob tube, you wear a bandeau at the,
Wear a
at the
bandeau.
most.
It's a bandeau, yeah.
Okay. So, you're the one turns good. Very well. I know of these halflings. They will do well.
Hey, are the
Wolves
halflings
of
looking at
the-
us funny since we put our actual faces on?
The half-elves are trying not to meet Oriana's face.
The half elves or the halflings?
Halflings.
The halflings are trying not to meet Oriana's eyes.
Yeah, everyone does that.
It's the same ones from the bar.
It is.
Yeah.
You recognise the one you've thrown. Actively looking at you, but at you. The half-elf is now staring straight at you. Unashamedly.
Yeah, I stare at her.
We leave in a few hours. There are supplies here. Durga. And they all look at him. While we will happily take that thing with us, while we will happily take that thing with us for the next few hours, now you have revealed them, they cannot walk freely. They must be taken into custody by someone we trust, at least until we leave. And the Durgar look at him, nod, and step away from the half-elf. He just goes, boys, and from behind the dais walk three of the automatons that you saw earlier. And as they step heavily down, you notice that these ones are battered and beaten, but they still look quite strong. You can just see that they've been through some shit. They're scarred, they've got scorch marks over panels of their armor. The three of them as well, instead of having completely detailless faces, you can see that it's either been chiseled in or scored in or burned on or painted on, but they all seem to have highly stylized faces that differentiate each from the other, in different colors as well. And they all seem to have, where there should be a number on the side of their head, that has been just rubbed away, and there seems to be some elvish writing in three places on each side.
Can I see what the Elvish writing says? If I try and do an intelligence check against it.
Yeah.
I just read it.
Oriana can read it.
Yeah, but I have to do. Oh, it's really good. 22.
Looking at sepsis.
22.
Okay. As they walk past then, Oriana and Dice, you can see that the one walking at the head of the two behind, is his number has been rubbed off, and in place has been written Rex. The two behind,
You could make me cry now if you say one of them.
the two behind, one of them is called Fives, and you can see what's been scored off is 555, but it's just 5s. And then there's another one that just says wolf.
Oh, they're gladiators.
Kill these bastards. We'll come to your house and beat you up.
And as they walk past, they take the arm of the half-elf and just kind of quite gently take her off in a direction towards a doorway. Well, we leave in an hour. Prepare yourselves. And we will explain what we're doing on the way. It's going to take us a while to get through the Undercity before we get to the entrance into the Underdark anyway. For now, prepare yourselves, gather what you want from the quartermaster, and we will reconvene here in an hour.
May we know your names? You have us at quite a disadvantage.
How so? I do not yet know yours.
I think you know enough about us. But my name is Sepsis.
That is good to know. For now, you can call me Commander.
It's a pretty cool name.
More of a rank, actually. And the younger one kind of taps him on the shoulder and goes, he's
Hey.
fine. Or they, I apologize, madam. They are fucking with you.
I like him.
Okay.
Wouldn't dream of it.
I look at the younger one, but talking to the guy that just goes, I like him.
And they both nod to everyone and walk away.
I instantly kneel down to Sepsis's height, and I always bring my wings around to shield them. And I just look at Sepsis going, that was incredibly brave, and I'm incredibly grateful you did that. And it doesn't change anything about how I feel about you.
And I lean down and sort of trying not to show that a human's talking, goes, I don't care.
Inside check.
Go for it.
Against both of us or just one?
Yeah, both, I suppose.
Both? All right.
13.
I don't know why I'm rolling. I'm
telling the truth, so.
we genuinely don't care.
It's never mattered to me what race you were. I was interested to know, but it didn't bother me.
You don't
The
know
first,
what race I am.
No, I don't. You look like a snake, and it's kind of cute.
First opportunity that Ace gets, they're going to hug Sepsis.
I pull Sepsis's hood back up for them then.
This is not the venue.
No, another time, but I've still got your back.
As you then prepare to make your way below the city of Londinium to the entrance of the Underdark on this adventure, you know not what for. Ours is not to reason why. We'll end it there.
I just want to say one thing as we get to the entrance. As I turn to everyone and go, by the way, don't die down there. Your soul will be trapped down there. You can't.
You're not
Can't
quite
go
going
on.
there yet. You're preparing for an hour. You
Okay.
can say that before you go next time.
Well, I can tell them
However-
now. By the way, while we're down there, don't die.
Try my
However,
best.
I will say that I feel getting to this courtyard, making this admission in front of all of these people
Oh no, look at his face.
with no real kind of knowledge that you're going to come out safe on the other side of this huge admission, and the fact that this huge like growth in Sepsis's character, I think is a real milestone.
Yay!
So next time, no, I'm joking. You can all level up.
Thank God.
Yes. So yes, you are all now, I believe, level 8.
8, yes.
Yeah.
Cool.
We,
So level 8. Dice.
Yeah.
You're going to go up in Artificer again, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Ace, Paladin, Oriana.
It's my final level. I'm taking in Bard.
Final level in Bard. Okay, cool. Sepsis.
Unless I get distracted again, it's Warlock from here on in, my dude.
Warlock from your own in. Okay.
Do you want us to roll
I would
roll our
like-
hit points still on the
Yes.
stream, or?
Roll hit points while we're on the stream then, so at least everyone else knows. Remember, you can re-roll the ones, because one's bullshit.
Yep.
I have
I'd say I only get. Oh, there we go.
What die to use, though?
I agree with the great.
As
One above us all.
as is standard, I've
One
completely
double check.
forgotten how to ready do this again.
I've forgotten how to level up. It's good.
Oh, I rolled max hit points. That's beautiful. I love it when that happens.
I've forgotten how to do this again. Do I just type in what I rolled?
Right,
just-
okay.
So
Click on
you
your
add
portrait.
what you rolled to the rolled HP.
Yeah.
Where
Right.
is my rolled HP?
So
And
if you
when
go to manage levels,
Mhm.
and you should see manage HP at the top.
Someone add 35 to 22.
Aha, got it.
Add 35 to
No.
22.
Well,
You didn't roll 35.
No, 35 was what was already on there,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and I rolled 22.
You
That's
Can't
a-
roll
22.
22.
You only roll
You-
one
Yeah,
hit.
it's a-
But did I roll this wrong? Because it says Bard 4d8.
No, you roll
No.
1d8.
Oh, right.
You have 4 hits dice you can use to regain hit points.
That's not clear on there at all.
No, it's
I rolled max. I rolled max anyway. So
Nice.
I just rolled an 8 on D10.
what did I say? The original was 35.
Yeah.
35 plus 8 is 43.
You got
It
7.
was 46.
Nice. 7.5.
Yeah.
54.
Cool. And Sepsis, you rolled maximum as well?
I rolled max, so I have 66 hit points now.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have 70 hit points. now.
So yeah, I'm not going to make everyone obviously sit through.
Catching up with Ace.
Yeah, I'm definitely not going to make everyone sit through like everyone picking their spells.
No, I just completely went straight into doing that.
Cool. Yes. For those who have watched along from the beginning, thank you very much. For those who joined later on with the raid and stuck around, thank you very much. It comes to the end of episode 32.
That was a big one. That was a big one for us.
Thank you very much for bearing with us. Bit of a kind of weird what was it? Skill check one last time, bit of a lore drop this time, so get prepared for some action. So
So much
yes, thank you for joining us for episode 32. I cannot stress this enough. Please, if you get a chance, hop over to Facebook and check out Heavyweight Gaming. You will see loads and loads and loads of posts in the coming weeks, months about the 48-hour live stream that Heavyweight Gaming is running at the end of August. That we are going to be involved in as well. We're going to run a one-shot. So many great creators and DMs, tabletop role players. It's just going to be a fantastic event, and it's for 3 really good courses. So please go check it out. We're going to give. We'll all share more information as the weeks get closer. But apart from that as well, shameless begging once more, please visit Dice of the Beholder on YouTube and help us change our horrible URL. And also, while you're doing it, please go check out the 31 episodes that led up to this if you're, like everyone else is, getting tired of me continuing not to record a 15-minute catch-up video. But apart from that, thanks, guys. Really good. I enjoyed tonight.
I
But
enjoyed
yeah.
tonight a lot.
I enjoyed a lot.
I've thrown out my trying to get you across the channel folder, so it's time for the Underdark. Woohoo!
We can still swerve. We've got an hour, Bri.
But again, good night, everyone, and stay safe. Thank you for joining us. Yeah, AD, take
Bye.
everyone to a raid if they want to.
Yeah.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.